going to get. We're going to figure that part out. Meantime, how you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we're talking about this, that, and everything in between. I appreciate you guys coming to the show. We're going to be talking today about, what are we talking about today? Polyamorous relationships. We're talking about how they the ups and downs of these particular types of relationships, and if they're good for us. And 2024 in modern times, that's what we're typically looking at. And since that's what we're typically looking at in 2024, we're trying to figure out should we really be in that hookup mentality, or would it be better for us to stick to the traditions? So I guess that would be probably the best question to ask is, do we stick to our traditions and stand on principle, or do we switch up to the new modern day hookup culture and lead ourselves down the path of polygamous relationships, polygamous relationships? What do you think about it, Marcus? Me personally, I mean, I know that men are not going to care if it's one man and multiple women in a group relationship, but I know that most men are going to be objective to being one of many men in a 3-group or 5-group relationship, and primarily because men do not like to share. So I know that I talked about it yesterday on the show about the benefits of if a female was dating a man that had multiple girlfriends or multiple wives, especially since women are reluctant to, in modern times, fulfill a lot of their roles as feminine women. The ability to have the freedom from responsibility and duty to the husband or the boyfriend would be more fluid in a situation where that responsibility could be passed on to another female in the relationship. Women may not agree with that, but because they're wanting the resources to themselves is why they don't agree with that. But think about it. If, as a girlfriend or a wife, your job is to satisfy your man, protect him, provide for him, give him everything no, he's supposed to protect you and provide for you, but you're supposed to look after him and make sure that he doesn't fall apart so that he's capable of getting out there and protecting and providing for you, right? All of the mundane things that a man would expect from his girlfriend, which are non-tangible expectations. The same thing as a wife, it's non-tangible expectations. Now, imagine if your job was, say, for example, hypothetically, a housekeeper. Now, you're getting paid 30 days a month to only be a housekeeper for 4 days out of the month. Do you think that would make more sense to dive into that particular type of contract? Or do you think that it would be more effective to be expected to work 30 days out of the month to get the 30 days out of the month pay? Does that make sense? Now, in a relationship where you're one of many girlfriends or one of many wives, assuming that you're in the type of relationship where the man can afford to pay for everybody, because I mean, that's typically the scale tipper on deciding whether or not this is a good thing for somebody to get involved with is, are there enough resources around? Well, if you're looking at the man as if he's a walking business, then the question is, can he afford to support multiple women in the relationship? And if the answer to that question is yes, then of course, you don't really have to care. A lot like Nick Cannon doesn't have to care about how many females he's got to pay child support for, because enough to live the rally. He has money on the side. He can give each woman $100,000 a year, and they don't have to work because they had a kid with him. So, I mean, no female is going to complain about the next female because there's more money to go around than what each individual woman could spend. But in this scenario where a female is in this polygamous relationship with a man that's probably got, like, say, $100,000 a year or $75,000 a year, where resources are limited. We understand that a comfortable standard of living for a single individual is about $68,000, $70,000 a year. Then when you start talking about two people, you're looking at more than $70,000 or $80,000 a year. Then when you're looking at three people, you're looking at somewhere about $90,000 a year. And when you start adding kids to the mix, you're adding an extra $15,000 to $20,000 per kid. So when you have the mother and the child, you're looking at a family of three is closer to 90,000. A family of five is going to be where there's two moms and two kids and one dad. The family of five, you're looking at upward of 110,000 a year. So the money starts adding up when you start thinking about the quantity of expectations are in there. Now, in the egalitarian lifestyle, you have the other expectation that, well, we could all probably split the bill, where each person is paying close to a third. Well, not likely is a woman going to say, oh, yeah, we're going to be in a polygamous relationship and share you with another person, where his resources are split ideally at least four ways, if not five, because one woman's going to want her personal expectations met by his income. Another woman is going to want her personal expectations committed to. The household is supposed to be committed to. And if the man is going to take care of himself, that's four. And then the children. So 4 to 5 ways split. Man ain't making enough, where you're looking at ideally being able to split it at $10,000 to $20,000 a person. Financially, it's not a feasible scenario unless you have a relationship with multiple women that don't mind putting up 33% of their income for the household, and then being able to share the remaining capital amongst each other. Now, if you have that particular type of polygamous relationship, is it more beneficial? As opposed to a monogamous relationship, yes, it is more beneficial. In a monogamous relationship, it's an expectation of 1-to-1 ratio. And with that expectation of a 1-to-1 ratio, there is full expectation from most females that the male is going to have to pay for the majority of things. And there's an inherent upbringing of men, where men are taught by the last generation of men, the last generation of women, the current generation of men, and the expectations of their peers, that men are supposed to fit the responsibility bill primarily by himself, if not 100% of the way. And that's going to teeter where the female's responsibilities to fit the all of the non-financial burdens, which would be laborious burdens. So that's going to be everything, including, and then first thing that comes to everyone's mind would be cooking and cleaning and laundry and running the man's bath water, massaging his back, making sure that he's healthy enough to get out there and tackle the world a second time to continue to bring you back those resources. That symbiotic relationship on a one-to-one basis only works if it's on a one-to-one basis, because when you add a second family where the breadwinner has to divide his winnings between two different families, it's not going to work as well. But in a polygamous relationship, where you're still doing an egalitarian style relationship, each person is putting up a third. If the lifestyle is 68,000, there's 3 adults in that $68,000 lifestyle, and each person only has to put up 20 grand towards that. You're not having to gather that much money to be able to put up 20 grand towards a $68,000 a year lifestyle. Does that make sense? I mean, truthfully. Now, we noticed that a lot of us talk bad about the illegal immigrants that come over into the country. And those of us that do talk bad about the illegal immigrants that come across the country, you don't pay attention to the fact that when they get here, you'll typically see 10, 15 of them all living in one apartment, 20, 30 of them all living in one house. We look at Hugh Hefner's lifestyle and we think, oh, that's the jam sandwich. Every guy wants that, a 52-bedroom house with 49 women in it. I mean, in a way, that's a good thing, but in a way, it's not. Because you have to have the capital to pay for 49 other people to live in your house. They're not there. They all care about you. They are there because they all are trying to be taken care of by you. So, I mean, if you are developing the type of industry where their presence brings you capital, like Hugh Hefner had the Playboy book, and the Playboy book made a bunch of money. So 49 women, each one of them takes one photo a year and get into a calendar. You're making money for the business. You get into the book, that out of the book, they probably have 10 out of the 49 women in the book. That develops interest. Then you throw a party, you charge people a shit ton of money to come over there so that you can get autographs from these famous people. So now you have 49 women bringing money in addition to what the man is doing, in order to cover the standard of living for 52 people in a 52 bedroom house. Does that make sense? That is almost the same mentality of a polygamous relationship. The only difference is that he's not exclusively dedicating himself to all of these women, whereas in a polygamous relationship, all parties involved in the polygamous relationship agree that they will only engage in sexual activity with each other, because the emotional attachments are just like it's everywhere. But the physical connections to one another is supposed to be, well, if it's two guys and one girl, or two girls and one guy, the three of them are supposed to only interact with one another. Now, what is the downside of the polygamous relationships? Because we have the idea of open relationships that we're going to be talking about soon, but what is the idea of the polygamous relationship? Well, no one person can be as in love with two people at the same time. And let me say it in another way. No individual has the capabilities to have level 10 love for more than one person at the same time. There's levels to this shit. So you can have like level 5 love for your brother, your sister, your mom equally. You can have like level 5 love for your friends, or you can have like more love for your friends than you have for your family, or more love for your family than you have for your friends. You can have more love for your partner that you're dating than you have for your family and your friends. But you cannot be deeply in love with more than one partner. You can have love for both partners. You can have love for each one of them, but you cannot be in love, deeply in love with more than one person. So if you've got 3 people, which is a horrible number, one of them is going to be left out. And the reason why one of them is going to be left out is because if one person falls deeply in love with the other person, and those feelings are reciprocated while both of those people can have love for the third person, it's going to be equivalent to 2 people loving each other and 2 people having love for the dog. The love is not the same. So in a polygamous relationship, especially when there's an uneven number, you don't have the likelihood of all parties connecting together and turning into an even pair. So let's say you had 4, and person number 1 was madly in love with person number 2, and person number 2 was madly in love with person number 4, and so forth and so forth. That relationship would be less catastrophic because there wouldn't be a triangle where 1 and 2 are in love with each other, and 3 might love 1, but 1 loves 2 more than 1 loves 3. 3 loves 1 more than 3 loves 2, but 2 loves 1 more than 2 loves 3. So now 3 and 2 are now fighting for attention from 1. There's your chaos. What do you think about that, Ryan? Because I personally feel like, hey, in 2024, we've got this hookup culture where everybody's swinging. Everybody's swinging. We've got primary relationships. Everybody's followed the music videos, and they've got a side chick or a side dude. They've got the friend zone guy. They've got the friends with benefits in addition to that. And it's terrible for you to have friends with benefits, which is a untitled relationship. Then you have the guy in the friend zone that you're platonic with and getting resources from, and then you have the man that you're in the committed relationship with at the same time. You're almost resembling a polygamous relationship, because and it's more doable with females than it is with men, because men are forced to chase women these days, and women are starting to experience the demand from men to put up that chase. But there's a lot of pushback on that. And the question is, because ladies, it's a win-win for you, but you don't want to do it. Why is it wrong for you to share your man with another woman where you don't have to meet all of his needs, since you're the one with the expectations to receive it all, but no requirement to give any? why is it wrong for you to be in this type of relationship with a dude where you can share him with her, where you get him when you feel like it, but you also can send him to her when you don't feel like it. So if you have a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday relationship, and let's say that your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday relationship puts you in a position where like you don't feel like doing whatever it is that you're supposed to do on Tuesday, you can tell them, hey, go talk to Tuesday. It's not my day. And then your responsibilities are avoided. You can't tell me, oh, my stomach hurts and I'm tired. I got a headache because it's Monday. It's your day. You gotta get in here. You gotta clock in and put your efforts in. But can you tell me, like, does it make sense that in this particular situation where females would actually benefit from if you're getting taken care of from the guy, right? Like, so he's paying for everything that you need, right? So there's no complaints from you. Like you're not being stuck out by doing this. You're not being, sacrificed by doing this. So you're getting everything that you're looking for from the guy. And all you got to do is give him the attention that he's expecting to get from you eventually when it's your day. Like, doesn't that make more sense for you to be able to say, hey, all right, I'm gonna clock in and I'm gonna put in my work. It still falls in line with the whole earning your keep and the idea of alchemy where you're doing equivalent exchange. But if you're dividing up your responsibilities between multiple other women, say for example, if you had a guy where you knew he had 6 other girls, instead of you being jealous of that and hateful towards that and fighting the other women and breaking up with the guy, you say, well, shit, if there's 6 other girls, then I'm only showing up on Thursdays. And today ain't Thursday, and you still getting the money from the guy. He's still paying your bills. He's still taking care of you, but you only have to attend to his needs once every 7 days because everybody's got to take a shot. Everybody's got a turn. Everybody's got an obligation. Why wouldn't that be a feasible thing for women? I mean, primarily the selfishness and a lot of the time the greed. That's probably the only reason why a polygamous relationship would not work, where a woman would be required to share her responsibilities with other women to satisfy the man, because she's not going to be willing to share the resources from that same man with other women. A woman is not jealous of a man because he's got more children with more women. She's not disappointed because she wanted to be the only one to bear all of his children. Typically, women are upset and frustrated because he now has to pay for child support for this other woman's kids, not because she no longer has him exclusively to herself, where she was giving him all the satisfaction that he needs. I mean, we were talking in the comments a few times this week where women were saying that, oh, cheaters are bad and all people that cheat are horrible people. But like, when a woman dates a man, she controls how often the man has sex because the man is responsible for being exclusive to the woman. Monogamy, right? Now, the man does not get to fulfill his sexual desires at the magnitude that the man would like to. The man is obligated to only be able to fulfill those sexual desires if the woman says it's okay. But the man is expected by that same woman to fill her financial desires whenever she expects it, because that's his job as a man. Now, no woman is going to say that it's her job as a woman to make sure that the man is perfectly satisfied. She says it's her body and she does whatever she wants with it. But she says that it's his responsibility to give her money and take her shopping and do whatever she wants to do whenever she wants him to do it. So the control dynamic from this type of woman throws off the balance of what we believe to be equality or equivalent exchange, because even in those transactional relationships where a man is trading off his resources for physical intimacy with the female, the fact is that if he's not guaranteed the physical intimacy from the female, but she is expecting to be guaranteed the resources from the male, it is not uniform. She's not doing her part or fulfilling any expectations, but she's getting everything she's supposed to have. Now, back into those polygamous relationships, if she is able to get back out of the polygamous relationship what she's putting into the polygamous relationship, because she's only showing up 25% of the time because it's one of 4 women instead of her being responsible for doing it all by herself, then she wouldn't have as much time to complain about, what's not getting done and what she expects from the man. Because if there's 4 women doing dishes, the dishes get done more often. If there's 4 women doing laundry, the laundry gets done more often. If all 4 women got their own car because the dude is paying for everybody's whatever and everybody's eating, nobody's going hungry, what seems to be the problem? Now, outside of social unacceptability in this particular scenario, we're looking at there isn't really another reason why it's not a good idea for women to link up with a man that has multiple relationships. And that's wild to say, because you have that concept and that expectation. Oh, look at that, y'all. Hold on. I just realized that I shrunk the picture in picture. Now we've got picture in picture in picture over here. Hold on. Let's maximize that Zoom feed, because I was sitting over here attempting to pull off another hat trick. But yeah, we were talking about the. Yep, there it is. Almost there. Kind of quite got it. Anybody? Yeah. It happens. So yeah. So back to what I was trying to say. Yeah, so the relationships, the polygamous relationships, the ones that are expected to hang in there and work out, are going to be the ones where you guys have actually negotiated. And I'm supposed to be giving you guys the opportunity to dive in and throw your 2 cents in. So let me get this multi-guest set up here where you guys can jump in here and you guys can request to get in here and get your 15 seconds of fame. The rest of you guys that are over here on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter, you guys also have that link that you guys can click, and you guys can approve the mic, approve the camera, and it throws you guys into the live feed, and you get seen in the green room. And while you're seen in the green room, I'm able to what do I do while you guys are in the green room? See that you're over the age of 18, and then throw you guys up there. And once I throw you guys up there, you guys can turn off your cameras if you like. If you prefer to be heard and not seen, then we can have you guys communicate with us in real time. But if you like to throw us your opinions about today's topic, what's going on in these polygamous relationships, and why you ladies are not okay with the polygamous relationship. Now, hold on. Let me rephrase that. I can't say that women are not okay with polygamous relationships, because I think that no woman really complains if she's the only female in the polygamous relationship and there are like 5 or 7 other men in that scenario. Some of these OnlyFans girls have absolutely no problem with having 5 different paychecks show up. Now, the problem with that is that while the man is expected to be the breadwinner, if you have 2 or 3 or 4 other men, you still have the problem that no one woman is actually designed or capable of being, or not. Well, hold on. Let me rephrase that, because you're designed to do it. You're capable of doing it. You're just not willing to do it. You're not willing to give the satisfaction that is asked of you from a dude when they are asking you to do that. So, is that D Reed? How did you dread it? Help me out. I just see, now I know Myron right there, and I see Dreaded up there, and that is like D Reed, that RE3RD. That's pretty straight. Hey, when I see a name that pops up on the screen, and I'm just like, wait, what is that? I'm gonna go straight towards it. So know that we're in a live podcast. This is not pre-recorded. If you jump in here like Wink Speed just did, and I see your name and your name stands out like a sore thumb, I am definitely going to talk about that, because I was not expecting to see such a creative name. Element was normal. Ryan Jones, like Rick Ross, it's like a normal name. But wink speed, I'm trying to figure out who is you winking at the speed of light. Just how you doing, Wink? So we're here. We're talking about polygamous relationships. So whether or not you know about polygamous relationships, is when more than two people get together and they start turning themselves into a menage a trois. And I've been asking everybody, do you guys think that it's a good or bad thing for the polygamous relationships? Because while it's not socially acceptable yet, it's good to hear that you're doing well. While those relationships are not doing well in the social expectations, because a lot of the monogamy is still a thing, wouldn't polygamous relationships be a positive scenario if you had that uniformity involved amongst all parties involved? I'm still thinking that uneven numbers aren't good, but I mean, it is what it is. But typically, guys are okay with having 3 to 5 extra women. I know a woman wouldn't have a problem with having 3 or 4 extra dudes, but I still feel like it doesn't matter how many dudes that are involved in the mix. Women right now that are complaining about satisfying the needs of one man as the feminine wife, she might get a shit ton of money if she has 3 or 4 extra boyfriends and they all know about each other. But I think that she would have a problem with being able to satisfy the needs of all 4 men, because I mean, think about the demand of the drive of the one man is not being met by a lot of women, which is one of the reasons why the adult sex industry is making so much money, because you have men that are emotionally starved, we have men that are physically deprived of sexual encounters, but we don't actually have a lot. You don't see a bunch of women out there looking for it, and women are going to say, oh, but they're not looking for it because they have more self-control. That's wrong. You are not looking for sexual attention because you have an overabundance of attention and attraction to you. So you can, whenever you feel like it, you can literally out, and then that person will give you what you're looking for. Doesn't matter who it is. A guy can't do that. A guy can't just turn around and just say eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and just grab one. See what I'm saying? A girl can go through her DMs and she can pick a July. She can pick a Monday, July. That's how deep her Rolodex is. She can have 365 dudes waiting to get a chance at a one day with her. You see what I'm saying? And he'll spend all of his money or as much money as he has access to for that one day. And the difference is that the life of Raleigh could be lived by that one female, one day per dude, and have 365 different dudes spending money on her all year, where she does not have to spend anything on her lifestyle. She could be working, but each dude, a couple $100 here and there, and 365 dudes giving her $2,000, or 365 dudes giving her 200 even. 365 dudes giving her 200. That's an annual salary, because now you're making $200 a day, untaxed. Plus your own money. And then and most of the time these women aren't even spending the whole day with the guy. They're only there for half a day, 6 to 8 hours out of the day. And that's where the polygamous relationships from a woman's perspective is manageable. Winksby said, I met a guy from Middle East. He have multiple wives, but each wife lives in a separate home. Now that makes a lot of sense, because whenever you go to that house, she's got to give you her undivided attention. But when you're not at that house, she can, I guess, do whatever she wants. But that kind of leans more towards open relationships, because here in America, we're not going to have a woman that, one, she's going to want you to take care of her house. So you can have different women, different houses, but you're going to be paying for each one. Imagine, you're one bedroom apartment. Woman's not going to be okay with 1 bedroom apartment. She's going to want at least a 2-bedroom apartment. But you're thinking about $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 a month for an apartment. And then if you've got multiple of those, you're looking at, like, let's say 4, for example. You're looking at most paying $2,000 a month per apartment. You're looking at $8,000 a month just for the apartment. not for the dinner dates, not for the wows, not for the expensive gifts. You're looking at spending $8,000 a month to have 4 girlfriends, because in America it's not legal to have multiple wives. They only recognize one wife. And all the other mistresses, even if you contract yourself girlfriends and mistresses and stuff, you only legally have one wife that is entitled to your estate unless you have a prenup that says otherwise. Now, if you are paying $2,000 a month for the rent alone for 4 wives or 4 girlfriends, that's $8,000 a month, which is $80,000 for 10 months. So you're looking at about $96,000 a year to have 4 girlfriends. Okay. That's just the rent. Think about the fact that you still got to pay for yourself, because if you're not living with one of those girls where you're bouncing around from house to house between those 4 houses, then that means you've got a 5th house. Add an additional $24,000 a month for just the rent, where you're ultimately paying approximately $120,000 to $150,000 a month on this lifestyle to have 4 different women with 4 different locations that is not your primary residence. And then you still have to deal with transportation for these females, entertainment for these females. And this mindset is one of the reasons why women in America are asking for men to have $100,000+ a year, because if she can get her $60,000-$70,000 lifestyle or $80,000 lifestyle where she doesn't have to work, she chooses to work. If he cheats on her with another woman and has to give her a half or a third of his income, the first girl is still good. But if you were making $70,000 a year, ain't no way the guy is going to be able to pay for $120,000 worth of households. Winksby said, he said, we American guys make baby mamas, but we don't marry. His wives all have degrees. You know, that is a good point, Wink. In other countries, because the American women believe that because they have a degree, whether it's a trade or whatever, they believe that they're better than men, that they're smarter, that they're more successful. But in America, you get a degree and you don't do what the fuck that degree was for. I've got like 3 or 4 of them, at least 3, right? Because I don't really consider my associates. That's why I say 3 or 4, because an associate is technically a degree, but the associate is not a bachelor's degree. And when people talk about degrees, they refer to bachelor's. When you start talking about bachelor's, it's 3 bachelors and then a associates, and not to mention the masters. But you know, when you're gauging whether or not you want to include your associates as a bachelor's in the degree category, because that's a 2-year degree, and associates is a 2-year degree. Anything that's a 4-year degree or higher, that's the ones that people respect. But regardless of the fact, I got more than one. Now, a female that's got 1 degree, whether it's an associate's in something, whether it's a bachelor's in something, you know, the women believe that they are better than the men because the men make the same amount of money as the woman, or in very rare occasions, the woman makes more money than the man. In other countries, these women have at least 1 degree, if not 2. They speak at least 2 languages, if not 5. And they still respect their man to the magnitude where, since this woman's same goal as American women, to have this man take care of her to the best of his ability, she's going to analyze him to see if he's capable of and willing to support her, and in some countries, her whole fucking family. And she will do whatever the fuck he wants to make that happen. Now in America, women are like, no, I'm attractive. I'm a 10. You do what I say. You give me all your stuff and don't complain. But I'm not going to do shit that you ask me to do because I'm independent. How does that make sense? I think the women in the other countries know what the fuck they're doing. I think they're a lot smarter with their agenda than the American women are. And like Wingspeed said, the guy, they get wives. And in America, all we do is get baby mamas. In Dubai, the husbands give wives allowances. In America, boyfriends give girlfriends allowances. And it's not really called an allowance in America. It's entitlement as according to the woman. But that's really what happens is when you're giving this girl money to get her hair done, her nails done, and you're buying her jewelry, you're buying her clothes, you're taking her shopping because she's in a mood to go shopping. You're giving her an allowance. Her basic needs, which is clean clothes, the roof over her head, and food in her stomach, transportation to work if she's gonna work, but if she's not gonna work, transportation to the grocery store. That is all that you're and medical provisions. That is all that she's required to have. Everything above that is luxury. Now she can provide that basic need for herself. So women do not expect a man to be on her level if he can provide her with her basic needs. The stuff that she can't do for herself, the trips around the world, the $2,000 red bottom shoes, the Gucci purse, the Louis Vuitton bag, the Prada outfit. That's what women are looking for. The $2,000 L'Oreal makeup kit. That's what they're looking for. You know, the Brazilian weave that's really just horse ass that's tied to your and it's got this finger wave S curl shit on it. They're gonna name it something different and charge you $7,000 for some shit that you're gonna tie into your scalp for 6 weeks at the most, and then you're gonna throw it in the trash. You're not even gonna take it out, wash your head, wash that hair, and sew it back into your scalp. You're going to take it, use it, get tired of using it, chuck it out, get you another one. Some of the other women actually go one step further and actually buy wigs, which are just hat hair, and they're going to slap it on top of their head to make them look different. They don't look better, they just look different because your beautiful face that's accentuated by the hair was your beautiful face that would have been accentuated by your bald ass scalp. But these bitches don't think about that. So while we're throwing money at them, what we have to stop and recognize is that we're throwing money at females that's their allowance to be the girlfriend, which is in Dubai. You got to marry the man to be entitled to that. Do you see how that makes no sense? Now, why as a girlfriend the man is expected to take you shopping and buy you shit and pay for all of your basic needs, even if you've got money to do stuff for yourself? Why is the man required to pay for all this extra shit? But then at the same time, you turn back around and say, in order for the man to get the stuff that he's expecting you to do, as women, you say that you must be married to him first before you fulfill your feminine duties. Now, if a man says, well, in order for me to fill my husband duties, you must be married to me first. I'm not giving you an allowance. I'm not paying for dates. I'm not taking you out and taking you shopping. We're going to work this out. And if you're going to marry me, then I'll pay for you. Then in those situations, the women will then turn around revengefully, because they're not doing this unilaterally. They're just doing it out of revenge of the fact that you're not willing to give them free shit that they don't have to earn. Then she'll say, now, well, we're not going to have sex with you then. Like that hurts the man's heart or something. And that also means that the trade-off is she has no value, because the only thing she's bringing to the table is the sex in exchange for the wealth. But the wealth comes with the responsibility from the woman to do more than just sex, but she's not willing to bring that to the table. So when we're dealing with the polygamous relationships here in America, because as you see, the men know what the fuck you're doing in the Middle East. Because in the Middle East, they ain't going to give her shit. They're going to focus on their money. They're going to build up their wealth. And they're going to say, nope, I am not spending nothing on nobody that I ain't married to. Now, if you keep that same mentality, I ain't spending nothing on nobody that I ain't married to, then how does the woman get you to marry her? Beyond sex. Because, I mean, in order for you to marry her, since the man is expected to pay for the wedding, the man is expected to pay thousands upon thousands of dollars for a wedding ring. You can't just go to the justice of the peace and pay the cost of court to get married. You've got to spend $35,000, $40,000 for a ring, and then you got to spend $60,000 to $100,000 for a wedding, and then another $50,000 for a fucking vacation, where it's a 3-day vacation, maybe a week. You might get lucky, and if your friends help pay for it, you might get 2 weeks. And the whole time, if you're on that type of honeymoon, all y'all doing is smashing in the room. Y'all in Hawaii in a bamboo hut, just knocking boots the whole time. If you're really consummating the marriage. But I mean, if you're out there and you're seeing sights and you're going on the tours and, you know, private island and all this other stuff, you're just basically, for the honeymoon, spending a bunch of money taking this woman someplace that she never would have been able to go on her own as a prize to the marriage, after spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to impress her family and her friends that she got married, after spending all of these thousands upon thousands of dollars on a wedding ring to impress her specifically to marry you, which is almost like a bride. And it makes no sense. It makes no sense with the expectations that we have as men. I don't understand why we can't just offer a woman a Bitcoin and say, look, take the Bitcoin, sign the marriage paperwork, do what I want you to do as a female, and worst case scenario, you get 2 Bitcoins when we divorce. Wouldn't that make more sense? Because, I mean, you're going to throw away $35,000. If you try to pawn that ring, they're not going to give you 35 grand on it. If the value of the ring is 15 to 20 grand when you get ready to get rid of it, they're only going to give you 5 grand for it. So the 35 grand ring, worthless. The honeymoon, waste of money. Look, Wink Speed said, yep, my buddy's honeymoon was Jamaica. They never left the hotel to sightsee. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So what the fuck is a honeymoon for? And if the honeymoon isn't a gift from the other people, if you, the husband, have to pay for the honeymoon, that's a waste of a call girl. Because why are you spending $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 on the honeymoon after you done spent 100 grand on the wedding, after you done spent 35 grand on the engagement ring? That's a fucking Bugatti, bro. That's a Maserati, bro. That's a limited edition Bentley, bro. That's a Benz, bro. What is you doing? That's an Escalade and a Navigator at the same time. I don't understand. Why is you wasting all the? If you're gonna waste some money on some shit, waste some money on some shit where you can get a title loan on that shit and use half of the value of the car to go and buy you some real estate. Why are you wasting all of this money so that you can impress this chick? And then when you get back from the honeymoon, she's going to be hitting you in the back of the head with pots, throwing water in your face, telling you what the fuck she not going to do. And if you talk back to her, shoes is flying across the room. She'll hit you with a slipper in a heartbeat. But will she ever come through and drop to her knees and satisfy you because you did everything that you needed to do? I ask women on a regular basis, and this is even in a monogamous relationship. You ask women on a regular basis, how often do you tell your man that you appreciate it, or that you appreciate him, and how often do you praise him and tell him that you know he is important to you? You could tell him when he's fucking up, but how often do you tell your man that he's doing a good job? Not very many women can say with a good heart that they can remember the last time, not just how many times over the course of the dating, how many times over the course of the marriage, just the last time. They can't remember the last time, the most recent time that they've looked at their husband or their boyfriend and say, you're doing a good job. I'm proud of your accomplishments. But now every fucking day, every fucking week, most men have to deal with whether you're the guy in the friend zone, whether you, Winkspeed says, well, when that spider mouse shows up, when the spider mouse shows up, the spider mouse. So when either a mouse or a roach comes out of nowhere, that's when you have a situation where she's going to want you to kill it. She's going to scream and fuss and cuss until you kill it. And if you miss it, she's going to cuss you out to high heaven. But if you get it, She might thank you for getting that spider, that mouse, or that roach. But if she was taking a good, doing a good job and putting in her effort and keeping the house clean, wouldn't be no motherfucking spiders and mice and roaches in that motherfucker now, would there? Because if she see a hole in the wall that looked like a rat would have done that, that she would have got the Orkin man to come in there and get rid of them rats. If you see a bug crawl across the floor, the first time the bug crawled across the floor before the bug could nest into the house and infest the house, she would have been and sprayed some shit on it. Because we got raid, we got home defense, we got the home defense with the long goddamn fire hose with the long ass goddamn spigot on that bitch. You can sit back like it's a damn silencer and hit that bit like it's a Glock, like and from across the room and dump a gallon of poison on this bitch. So I don't understand. If the house was taken good care of by it, she would not have to worry about bugs being in the house. You know, you ain't got to worry about snakes coming in your house if you go outside into your yard and take you some mothballs and put it around the perimeter of the house. If she did her part, making sure that the house was straight, the man wouldn't have to be out there smacking Charlotte's web. Because how does a spider web formulate in a house that's being dusted every day? Boswella, the housekeeper, gonna make sure ain't no damn spider webs in that bitch. Look, let me ask you a question. That man had a motherfucking bat cave full of motherfucking bats, and you ain't never seen a goddamn bat inside of Bruce Wayne's house, did you? And Alfred was a dude, and he made sure that the whole house was bat free. There ain't no bats, no rats, no roaches, no spiders, no nothing, no mosquitoes, no nothing. Nah, and that was a dude. Now these females can hopefully keep their house clean, but I mean, when they come up there talking about being girlfriend material and being wife material, you want a man to come over here and kill the bug for you. But if the man tell you that his back hurt, he gonna tell you, oh well, what kind of shit is that? Look, Wink says, right, the op would freak out. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Like we in left field territory here, where we're trying to figure out how and why we're thrown into some bullshit where as men we have all of these expectations, but we can't expect anything in return. Now when you try to throw that into a polygamous relationship, if you as a female was one of many females, you would not have a problem with showing up every now and again and doing a little something every now and again if he's paying for you for the rest of the month. But as a female, how do you believe that you could be one female of a bunch of men in your polygamous group and be expected to perform your feminine duties with multiple men when you ain't even really willing to do your feminine duties for one man? So the women got their priorities wrong here in America. And that's one of the hardest parts about dating right now, because the young boys, these Generation Z guys, the next generation, I don't even know what they're calling the next generation, but the guys right now that are between 18 and 25, they're just trying to get laid. Most of them don't have their priorities in order. Most of them ain't trying to make a bunch of money. That if they're not already living on somebody else's income, they're just now trying to get on their own 2 feet and make money for themselves and cover their own standards. They're not trying to build wealth yet till they see this podcast and we start talking about ways to build wealth like we was doing last week and the week before. They don't start thinking about how to build wealth. And even at 2024, you're going to have you a 10 or 20 year plan where you're going to be in your late 30s, early 40s, or late 40s, early 50s, and you finally made it. Nowhere in there is a woman grabbing that 20 to 25-year-old talking about something, I'm going to make him a millionaire, where she's going to teach him how to invest, teach him how to save money. She's trying to get her shit taken care of. She's trying to get her bills taken care of. Her hair and nails and all her miscellaneous desires conquered. So she want to go to the movies. She want him to pay for her to go to the movies. Shit, I bought Netflix, bitch. You better put that Netflix on TV. What's going on, Red Boy? I see you there. Put that Netflix on TV and watch TV for $21 a month and get you as much movies as you can get. We can go get us some Redenbacher, some oval Redenbacher from goddamn Walmart for $10, where I'd have spent $50 for the month, and you can watch as many movies as you want. One bag of popcorn per movie. Look now, They sitting over here wasting all of our money. When you think about the $200 that you spend on the movie theater, and I can give you 5 ways where you can turn $200 into $2,000, and we sitting over here taking $200 to impress her, that money is gone. But if you getting 80% returns on Bitcoin, that $200 is $380 by the end of the year. If you didn't do nothing else, if you didn't use the trade bots and invest high, buy low, sell high, and flip your money all year long, you looking at a 80% return annually. Well, your 200 would have been almost 400 by the end of the 12 months. And you taking that 200, you wasting it on her. That's throwing away money. I'm like, shit. And we can't expect shit for that. But with our polygamous lifestyle that we're talking about doing for 2024, how many females believe that particular type of lifestyle will work? Because if the men got it right in Dubai, where we focus on our money till we get a wife, then we focus on our money and we take care of our wife. And then if we want another wife, if we can afford it, we get another wife. And the first wife respects the second wife. And the second wife respects the third wife. Typically, if you can afford it, every time you go up a status tier, every time you go up 50 grand worth of income, you get you another wife. So if you making 75, you got one wife. If you're making 110, you got 2 wives. If you're making 140, you got 3 wives. If you're making 200, you got 4 wives. And the only reason why I'm doing it in those increments is because the cost of living in America is fucking expensive as fuck. But if you were out there in the Philippines and Thailand and in Asia, Venezuela, Japan, South Korea, Brazil, Romania, the cost of living out there is not that high. Now, the payout for employment out there might be different, and even in a country where the wage is living wage, you are not big ball and shot calling in that country if you're making just enough to take care of yourself and maybe 1 or 2 other people. But I mean, if you've got a business coming from America where you're getting paid $5,000, $7,000, $10,000 a month, and the cost of living out there is a third of what it costs to stay in America, sheesh, I don't know why. I don't know why you're not. I don't know why you're not putting your money in a place where, and I told a buddy of mine this before. I said, hey, stack up your cash and then wire transfer that shit to another country. And then he said, oh, well, don't you got the wire transfer fees? Yeah, you got wire transfer fees. But a lot of banks that do wire transfer fees also include the exchange rate in your wire transfer fee. So why would you pay to exchange the value of a US dollar to the currency of whatever country that you're in when you could have your money wired to a bank account that you have over there so that you don't have to get robbed by the federal government because you already I don't know if y'all heard about this, but if you travel with more than $10,000 in cash on you, they rob you. They literally rob you, and they legalized it. So the ATF, FBI, CIA, TSA, if they find out that you've got what looks like more than $10,000 in cash on you, they will rob you. And then they will call it like laundering or drug trafficking money kind of thing. And you have to prove that you didn't do it. The whole time your money is stolen. So you can't even report stolen money because the police stole your money. So instead of you flying around with $10,000 in cash money, you get you a fucking cashier's check, you fly to another country, you open up a bank account, and then you wire transfer the $100,000 that you wanted to wire transfer to that bank account. Or if you took a $2,000 cashier's check, go to another country, open up a bank account, and then wire transfer the other $8,000 because they report $9,000 to $10,000 transactions to the IRS. But if you're wire transferring $8,000 increments, ain't nobody really saying shit about that. So if you take $2,000 in cash with you, open a bank and wire transfer $8,000, you still got $10,000 in the other country, but they didn't rob you. That's what I be sitting over there laughing at. Because they be trying to make it seem like, hold up, y'all. There it is. Oh, I missed it, Wink. The YouTube thing made me try to update TikTok. Here we go with the here we go with the internet speed. But like I said, this is one of the reasons why, if you go to another country though, and you got your bank accounts in the other countries, you're able to fly to those other countries. If you've got a standard of living in that other country, especially if you're able to do mobile, because since I work from the computer, I can, wherever I got a fucking laptop, I've got a fucking business. So working from the computer, you can fly over to another country, and then you don't have to take anything with you. So instead of spending extra money for bags, you just pay for your ticket. If you're that kind of person where you want to take pets with you, if you got pets with you, if you got service dogs with you, whatever, you want to pay extra money for your service dogs, you and your dogs, you hop on a plane, you fly to another country. And now you buy what you need while you're out there. And then if you've got a standard of living out there, you leave the shit out there. You fly back with nothing. Motherfuckers be like, oh, bring me back a souvenir. There's shipping and handling fees with that. Bring you back a souvenir. Shit. You ain't bring me something back from your job when you went to work yesterday. It was telling me bring back some souvenirs. I got to pay for that stuff for the export to come in. But when we're looking at the getting 2, 3, 4 girlfriends in another country, think about those countries like the provinces in Japan and Philippines and Thailand and stuff like that, where these women would not have a problem with you having 5, 6 baby mamas. They not gonna care. Long as you taking care of her and the kids, they not gonna complain about that. But when your standard of living out there is less than $1,000 a month, and then if you're doing this in Japan, Japan is paying for the children, so you ain't even got to worry about child support. You just got to be out there. The kids is taken care of. You can have 5 baby mamas and 10 kids, and you ain't got to pay the cost of living to take care of them 10 kids. And you only got to pay for you and the 5 baby mamas. And if it's $1,000 a month, that's going to really run you $6,000 a month to cover the cost of 6 adults and 10 children. You is not going to live with $6,000 a month with 16 people in America. That shit ain't gonna fly. That ain't gonna fly. Wingspeed said, I remember the banks in the Bahamas wanted our money when I visited in '86. Is it safe today? Well, are you talking about, so if you contractually open a bank account in another country, all of the laws and rules and regulations about banks, that especially the ones that are I do believe it's called not FDA certified, FCC certified, those banks, because you do got like money laundering and all this other stuff, you do got the underhanded folks, but those legitimate banks, it's safe to have your money there in the bank, because most industries, they only hold about 1/3 of your money in the bank in cash anyway. The rest of your money is lended out, is invested somewhere. They don't. If you have $1 million of valued money in the bank, you don't have $1 million in that bank. If you have $100,000 in your bank account, you don't actually have. You can't withdraw $100,000 out of that bank. You can only withdraw probably 30 grand out of that bank. And look at how they fuck you over, because the legal system protects the bank with this scenario, because you're not allowed to travel in the United States with $10,000 of cash in your pocket or more. They accuse you of committing a crime and steal your money if you're riding around with more than $10,000 in cash. So what motivation do you have to withdraw $30,000 of cash out of your bank account? Because they're gonna try to arrest you for taking that much money out of the bank. So it's like, it's wild. But when you say, well, is it safe for you to put your money in the Bahamas? If you go to certain countries, I can do research and find some of the banks around the world that are not safe to put your money in, but more often than not, it is safer for you to open up a bank account in a specific bank in a specific country that you're going to be in, and wire transfer your money to that bank, than it is for you to put that cash in your briefcase or in your suitcase or in your duffel bag and carry it with you on the plane. Because if it is a carry-on where it's on the plane, inside of the plane with you, where you can see it, where you can touch it, you're more able to keep track of your money. But if you got it in one of the luggage bags that is checked in, there's a possibility that that could be stolen. And if you pay for insurance on the money that you have, you're now, whatever the value of the insurance is for your shit, and assuming that the rules will cover cash, if your luggage is stolen, then they might give you back your 10 grand. But now you're paying 10 grand plus extra to make sure that your 10 grand makes it to where it's got to go. It's almost the same as just bribing TSA and saying, hey, here goes a couple $1,000 if you let me take this briefcase full of cash with me to another country. Now, wouldn't it be cheaper to pay the $65 wire transfer fee? Or what if it's a $120 wire transfer fee to do international wire transfer? Would it be cheaper just to do that than it would be to pay insurance to bring cash to another country where you could get robbed in America before you get on the plane, and you can definitely get robbed in the other country when you get off the plane, and you could get robbed by America on the plane. You could get robbed in the airport by America, by government agents before you get on the plane or after you get off the plane. You could get robbed by their country's government at the airport based on their laws with you carrying cash with you. Wouldn't it be safer to wire transfer the money? Bring like $1,000 to $2,000 worth of cash. That way you got enough money to pay for cabs, food, or whatever till you get to the bank. Deposit the remaining money into the bank, and then wire transfer the rest of the money over there. And if you're returning to that country, wouldn't it make sense for you to have a bank account over there? Most folks use Switzerland. You get a Swiss bank account. You get a bank account in the Alps. Get you a bank account in like I say, China and Japan, Korea, South Korea specifically, not North Korea. Brazil, Portugal, Romania. And you're not really putting your money over there for the interest rate. You're putting your money over there because you're going to go over there and spend time there. So you don't have to travel with cash because your cash got set there before you went there. Well, the second time you go. And then if you have a house over there, your house is being taken care of. When you go over there, your stuff should still be there. You don't have anything of value because the only thing that over there was the clothes that you wear, whatever clothes that they were, and then whatever basic necessities that you needed while you were out there. So, who's going to steal a table from you? Who's going to steal a couch from you? Now, if you're out there trying to live like MC Hammer, getting golden toilets and shit, then yeah, they'll knock you off. But I mean, if you're getting basic necessities, they're not going to knock you off. But you would be more successful in the Middle East getting multiple wives. Because even the women in the Middle East are going to be more tuned to the fact that, oh, yeah, I don't have to be as much of a wife to him. I want to focus on my career. I want to do this. I want to do that. I only got to deal with him some of the time because there's other women here to handle his shit. But in America, the woman is like, nope, I want them all to myself. But I'm only going to distribute his needs microscopically. And he better accept it and like it. I got this question for women. Why the fuck do men have to accept women as they are? Where the women do not have to expect, the women are not look, Wigspeed said, nailed it. Why do the women as they are have to expect men to accept the woman as she is, flaws and all? Which means all of your imperfections identify you as less than a 10, because if you're a 10, you're perfect. And a perfect 10 is on the scale of the observer. So it is going to be subjective. So if you rate yourself a 10, you're egotistically saying that there's nothing about you that needs to be changed. But if you rate yourself based on what you believe other people would rate you as, you recognize your flaws that you're expecting a man to accept. And then you're going to say that, well, considering that some men don't like this shit, some men don't like that shit, some men don't like the other shit, I might have lost 3 points with that. So I'm not a 10. I might be a 7. Right? That's realistic speaking. You understand that you might be a little bit overweight. Not too many men are liking that. You might knock yourself down to about a 6 or a 5. But when you're doing that, you're being more realistic because you're saying, well, I understand that I have flaws that I'm probably not desiring to change. And if you accept me as I am, I'll be the best wife that you can get under these circumstances. That's a more realistic expectation. But women say, nope, I don't need to change, and you need to be satisfied with what I am. Look, I'm not about to walk up to a motherfucking Mercedes-Benz dealership and pay fucking Bugatti prices so that I can get me a fucking Nissan Maxima missing 2 wheels, dents, scratches, front end all toe up, talking about some accept it as it is. The fuck do you think I am? A fucking moron? That makes no goddamn sense. But then you, at the same time, are going to say that you don't want a man that doesn't have enough money to take care of you and half of your goddamn family, talking about some you want to be provided for, you want to be protected, but you can protect yourself. You got your own Glock switch. You don't need my Glock switch, but you don't. But if somebody steal your purse, I got to start doing extra cardio to go get your fucking purse back. Why did you get you a $2,000 purse worth stealing? Why didn't you just get you a regular fucking handbag that nobody would want? You could have $2,000 in your $5 handbag instead of having a $2,000 handbag with a food stamp card in it. But you want to sit over here and make it seem like, oh, I got to do all the shit for you. Ask you a question. Since men are supposed to be a walking stock option for the women because you're treating the man like an ATM machine. And the problem with treating a man like an ATM machine is the unrealistic expectation is that an ATM machine always got money in it. ATM machines ain't got no money in it for your ass if you ain't put no money into that fucking ATM machine. So, treat the man like a stock option. What happens with stock options? You put a little bit into it in the beginning, and you keep getting shit out of it, right? But the more you put into it, the more you get out of it, right? Treat a man like a walking stock option. See how much more successful you are with that man. If you're boosting that man up and you're building that man up, whether it's one woman doing it to one man or 5 women doing it for the same man, if all 5 of y'all women boost up that man, each one of y'all 1/5 invested into that man, y'all can get a man that can go from being a $30,000 a year man to being a $200,000 a year man. And each one of y'all is getting a $5,000 a month check from that man as royalties from the effort that you put into that man. If you got the kind of man that's willing to invest in ways to make more money so that more of that money goes to you. One of the reasons why we stay at the bottom, we stay struggling, we stay trying to make ends meet as men is because we try to impress women by wasting all of our money on her fucking entertainment. That is a zero. That's not a net zero. That's a zero. A net zero is if we take away some and put in more, we still going to end up with zero. A net zero is where I'm going to put in a little more, but you're going to take out a little more. So we're still going to be at zero. That's a net zero. This is not a situation where I'm going to put in, you're going to put in. It's going to be a situation where you're just going to take it all. That's a loss, bro. If you look at any business transaction where money goes into the transaction and no money comes out of that transaction, that's a loss. And the sad part is with relationships is that that's not a tax deduction. I was just sitting over here doing some research and found out that over there in some of them other countries like the Philippines, they got wife contracts where these women are being employed to be wives. That's a business transaction, bro. So the money that you're spending on her, you can write off on the taxes. The government freaking allows that shit. Like you can contract yourself to be in a relationship where a female in the Philippines will do what a woman in America won't do for less than what the women in America want you to spend on a one date. They'll do it on a regular basis. Some of them, you talking about giving them $300 a month, and they'll do wifely duties 30 days out of the month. You got these females in America want you to take them out on a goddamn $250 dinner for a 1 to 2 hour dinner for the same fucking $300. And all you're getting is the dinner because she class. She don't want to, she ain't putting out on the first date. She got to go to work in the morning. Her babysitter leave at 11. What? What the fuck is this? What are we throwing ourselves under the bus for, fellas? Now, if as men we stood on principle and we said, well, if I don't see no value, I don't see no investment. Now you're doing checks. Now you're vetting the females. But you know the females ain't gonna walk up to you unless you flash. You know, I like shiny, but that's why I wear shiny shit. I don't get shiny shit so that bitches can come talk to me because I look shiny. But when a bitch come up talking to me because I look shiny, I already know that the bitch is only talking to me because she think I got extra money for her. I can be a millionaire and not have a fucking dollar for you. And you know what that woman is going to tell me? You broke ass. Do you know what a broke man is? A broke man is a man that cannot provide the bare necessities. That's a motherfucker that he don't got to be unemployed. He just don't got enough money to take care of the responsibilities. That motherfucker is broke. Cheap might be a better assessment, but wouldn't cheap be fiscally responsible? Because you don't call rich people cheap, do you? Most people don't call rich people cheap. Most people call rich people rich, wealthy. But rich people are fucking cheap. Rich people do not buy shit that they don't need as they build their wealth. Now, some people are going to say, no, they don't. They waste money on shit all the time. Do they? Do they? Do rich people buy fucking Hellcats with scat packages on them? No, they don't. They don't. They will buy a 6,000 pound vehicle, charge it to their business as a tax write-off so that they don't have to pay taxes. They'll buy a $500,000 vehicle as a tax write-off so that they don't have to pay taxes. But are they taking a whole motherfucking last 9 months worth of income and putting it down as a down payment so that they can go buy them a fucking demon so that they can have one of the allegedly fastest vehicles in America that they cannot drive it to its maximum capacity without going to prison so that they can say they got a fast ass car, which, by the way, you can burn out that whole 19-gallon gas tank in less than 2 minutes. So if you is hitting 250 miles an hour in this motherfucking car, you're going to have the time of your life for all of 2 to 3 minutes. And then you're out of gas and surrounded by SWAT and a helicopter on the 6 o'clock news. They impounded your car. They're going to crush your car. You're not getting out for the rest of your life for one thriller. Or you could be a multi-millionaire. You can buy yourself a private island, build you a racetrack on it, bring your friends, have them pay to go, and then get you one of them. You can have a Need for Speed racetrack. You can have one of the death race racetracks. You can have think of all of the different extreme underground racing things that you can have. If you got your own private island, you can do whatever the fuck you want over there. You guys in California, 150 cars getting impounded and crushed because y'all in a Walmart parking lot acting ass, when if y'all built up y'all money, y'all could have put y'all money together and 150 people could have bought a private island and rebuilt that bitch and turned it into a drag track, turned it into a lap race, turned it into an obstacle course, and y'all could have floated y'all cars over there and did what y'all had to do in a sanctioned location and gambled and whatever the fuck you wanted to do and came back and with it, money made money for you. But instead, we spend our money on wasted resources. So I be sitting over here trying to figure out why do we have the polygamous idea. Nobody wants to get on it here in America. The monogamous idea doesn't work. And it primarily doesn't work because it's not favorable to the men and the women are not willing to uphold their end. That's really what it is. And I know that so those ladies that are watching the show right now, you're going to say, oh, well, no, it's not all women. No, this is going to be one time that I'm going to say all women, 100% of them. There's not one of them that is able to step up on this podcast right now today or chime into the comments after the show and say with honesty that they do 100% of what they man say do without ever complaining about anything their entire life. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And the expectations of men is that the men are supposed to provide 100% of the time without question. If I'm supposed to provide 100% of the time without question, if I'm supposed to be your bodyguard and I'm supposed to throw myself into some bullshit that you got yourself into, I got to get you out of it, protect you and protect me. I got to protect our kids. And I don't get that respect when I tell you to sit down and shut up. That's not going to work. But that's what the women want us to do. So as we spin these wheels, I sit here and I baffle, my jaw drops and I laugh because I be trying to make it make sense. And while I'm trying to make it make sense, I try to get everybody to understand that it's hard for us in modern times. The next show that we talk about, we're going to be talking about the wide open relationships where don't nobody got titles. It's complicated situationships because females don't commit. It's females don't commit. It ain't the men that don't commit because men are looking for life partners. If you wanted a man right now today, and if you was girlfriend material or wife material, and you wanted a man right now today, if you went over to that man and dedicated yourself to that man 100% of the way, you'd be married inside of 6 months. But most women who do what they want and refuse to respect the man, those people are going to tell people what they're not going to do, and I'm single by choice. It's a catch-22. Make sure that y'all like and subscribe because and follow us on TikTok. Make sure that y'all follow us on Twitch and everything like that. So Winkspeed said, I told a woman about the idea of multiple educated wives. And hold on, let me double check. I see somebody over here that might be diving into the comment section here. Let me double check here. Because I hear some back feed up there. So Winkspeed said, I told a woman about the idea of having multiple educated wives to create a better overall life. She cussed me out because she wasn't educated. She wasn't educated. Do you realize, Wink, back in the 70s, and I have to go all the way back then, back in the 60s and 70s, men used to go to work. Back in the 50s, before women's liberation, before women had the right to get out there and burn bras and demand to be in the workforce and all this other shit, way back then, women believed that they was just back at the house barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen cooking and cleaning and ironing shit. You know that men would work 1 to 5 jobs, 10, 15, 20 jobs, and bring all their money home and give it to the woman. And she would pay the bills while he was at work. She would spend his money on responsibilities while he was at work. She would buy him the shit that she know he need, make sure that he wouldn't look bad when he leave the house. She would take good care of him, take good care of the kids, make sure that he didn't have to think. All he had to do was work and make money and bring the money back for her. And whatever level of success that they could get, they would get that from his effort. But she would aid him in his success, because while he's struggling to try to find a way to get a promotion or try to find a way to get a better job or try to find a way to get more money, she's sitting over here brainstorming on ways to help him out with that. So then she would tell him, oh, you know, so-and-so is hiring. Oh, you know, this other company's offering more money. Oh, I talked to so-and-so's husband or so-and-so's friend. She talked to her husband. Her husband would give you a better paying job. She would network for you while you at work making money. Back in those days, the women invested in their men. Now, today, you want to know what kind of woman you got? Get that bitch $1,000 and see how much of it she spend on responsible shit that involves you. Because yes, she'll take it and pay her rent, her lights, her water bill, pay her car note, pay her phone bill, get her nails done with the change, get her hair done with the change, buy herself nice shit, take her friends out. But when the fucking money is gone, she gonna come back over to you, leaning on your arm. Hey, sweetheart. Oh, I love you, because you gave her $1,000 fucking dollars because she couldn't get it on her own like that. And then she's gonna be expecting you to do that shit again. But if you had you a good girl, a high value woman, if you had a high value woman, you give her $1,000. She done invested that shit because she don't need it. If she paid bills, she paid your bills because you need that. If she saw that you didn't have something that you needed, she would go get that. If she saw that you had wanted something that you did not have the initiative to buy for yourself because it's an impulse buy, you would kind of appreciate having it, but you know that after 10 or 15 times, you're not going to fuck with it no more. so you're not going to waste your money on it. She might actually go and get that for you with her money and have your $1,000 go towards some other shit. You get you a higher value woman, she might take your money and invest that shit. If you going into real estate and you got you a higher value woman, she might take that $1,000, go get a real estate license with it so that she can help you broker deals. Go get her a broker's license with that money so she can help you close on deals. That way, instead of him paying an outside person a percentage of the profits to broker the deal, she could broker the deal with him. So he's out there flipping houses and she's getting a commission out of the sale, which she's going to put back into the house. That's when you got a valuable woman. If you've got women, in a relationship, you've got one girlfriend that's the agent, one girlfriend that's the broker, one girlfriend that's the accountant, and they all work for your business. You only marry one of them, you get the other two work visas and bring all three of your wives to America. But guess what you just did? You took 3 educated women from the Middle East who will work together to make you a fucking millionaire, and you bring all 3 of them to America and give them a better lifestyle. Now, you can't find 3 women in America who will get together and make anything other than fucking Bad Girls Club and Angry Housewives. And you couldn't get them 5 women to be on the same show for 10 seasons. Now, you could get 7 women in Dubai to work together for the benefit of one man. You can get 5 women in the Philippines. You could probably get 2-3 women in Vietnam, 3-4 women in Japan, 6 women in Korea. But you can't get 2 women to work together for the sake of success in America for the sake of one man. When you understand that the middle-aged women are 2-to-1 to the middle-aged men. So for every woman 35 to 45 years old, there is an extra woman to her man. That's statistics. You wonder why the older man is cheating? The older man is cheating because there's 2 of y'all that wanted him, and neither one of y'all is doing for him what he asked you to do, but both of y'all want him to pay for y'all. But if he went and got a 22-year-old, he could get one of those and she would follow instructions. And all you need as an apprenticeship is one person that'll follow instructions. You know that in the Philippines and those other countries in where the younger women are dating those older men, they ain't always dating them older men just because they love those older men. They're dating those older men because those older men will take care of them. But them women are doing whatever the fuck that man wanted to do. So if you got a situation where, and I know that I've heard about the women where they're in such poverty where the family will sell off 2 of the daughters for a dowry to try to make money to take care of the family, and they make it seem like, oh well, one girl isn't valued because it was a 2-for-1 deal and this, that, and the third. If y'all sisters and y'all are gonna work together to make sure that this man that came to scoop y'all up does not suffer so that y'all can live a life of Raleigh, they still plotting. They ain't no different than the plotting that's happening in America. The only difference is that when they're plotting for the success of the man so that they don't have to suffer. And that is indirect selfishness, which is a lot better than the direct selfishness that we get from the American women. You know, it is better for a woman's agenda to be incorporated into the man's agenda, where she's making sure that you're successful so that she can get some of your success. It is stupid that the woman's agenda is to get from the man to manifest her success without her having to do anything towards his success, but she expects him to break her off on his wealth. What the fuck is up with that? When have you ever seen Elon Musk give AT&T money for the sake of doing it? Not gonna fucking happen. He will invest in the stock because he's gonna get dividends in return, but he ain't about to throw no money. No billionaire became a billionaire by giving bitches money. It ain't never happened. They made their millions first. They turned their millions into billions first, and then they have the ability to waste millions because their billions are making millions of dollars of interest. So they principle touched That's when you can get wasteful. But if your principal cannot cover your monthly expenses, 99% of your monthly expenses, or if you're living at if your income is about 101%, you make 1% more than your bills. So basically, you got like 99% of your income is going towards your bills, and that 1% of income you're wasting on stupid shit, like females. That's when you're supposed to be investing that 1% into something else. Because whether you got $1,000 a year set aside or $150 a year set aside, you should not be wasting none of your money on nothing that is not making money for you. And I think that Wingspeed had the right idea. Find you an educated woman that's willing to partner up with 2 other educated women, where the 4 of y'all can have an empire where they're taking care of off of your wealth, off of your success. But if you got 3 women investing in you, where 20% of their income going into your investment portfolio, where you're getting a 60% increase on your initial investment, and your 60% increase of the principal is going to get an 80% return, 180%. That means your 60 grand is going to gain about 50 to 58 grand of interest. That's more money for the bitches. Each one of them getting $5,000 a month back, because they making money for them. If they know ways to make more money, make money for them, you can take the interest out and invest the interest in other areas where y'all making a shit ton of money now. Now, the difference is, and what people don't understand, and we're going to be trying to touch base on some of these in later investment platforms, is that when you're building that wealth, your day-to-day is still mediocre. You're still living check to check or beneath your means so that your money can build itself up. You don't want to turn 60,000 into 120,000 and then say, "Oh, I'm gonna take that 60,000 out and go splurge on it." Those folks that win at $200, $300 million, you don't find them to stay millionaires. They become a millionaire for the week, for the year. If they take all the money out up front, they only get half the money. They don't get all of the money that they want. Then they get taxed on all the money that they won, which is about half the money that they get, because it's 50% prize tax. So you only get 25% of what you won. So you win $200 million, you actually got 75 million left over. And if you waste that, you ain't got shit left over. Those people who win $1 million, they only going to give you 500,000 out of it, and then they're going to tax you 250,000. If you bought a $500,000 house, you in the hole, but you won $1 million. But if you would have won $1 million and invested that $1 million, the 500,000 that they gave you, you invest that 500,000 in the stock, you could have rolled off some of that $250,000, bought you a $500,000 car or some shit, rolled off some of that, and then your $500,000 is making $500,000 a year. But you still would have been living the same lifestyle. You still been working on the same job. Even though you was a millionaire yesterday, you still showed up for work on time today, because you letting your millions make millions for you. You'd have had a bunch of niggas that you know that they swear to God that they're your friends because you got money now. They coming to you, "Oh man, I got this problem. You know you can give it to me. You just won a lottery yesterday. Fuck out of here. You wasn't sending me money on a regular basis when I didn't win a lottery. So why the fuck am I sending you money right now after I won a lottery? Fuck out of here. You get what I'm gonna give you what you gave me, not a goddamn thing." You know, some motherfuckers don't even call you for your goddamn birthday, but they swear to God that you their best friend when you get some motherfucking money. You got to give them all this book. No, I ain't giving you shit. I become a millionaire, the same amount of money your ass gave me is the same amount of money your ass getting back. I might get, if I borrow some money from you, I get a little bit on top of the interest, as I appreciate you for holding me down. But if you just send me something when I need something, I send you some money back when you need something, dollar for dollar. That's all we getting, because that's all we've ever exchanged. You ain't never let me nothing and let it slide and say, "Fuck it, I don't need it." Because that's a true investment. You're going to catch that person back with regular interest rates. and say, okay, well, I'm gonna hit him back. I'm gonna hit him back with like a 20% interest rate on his investment. He was giving me X number of dollars all this time. I'm gonna go ahead and give him back, 30% on top. That way he good. And when you do that, that's when you start to see most success. That's when you start to see most success. But when you got friends that'll invest in you, wow. TikTok restarted itself for a second time. I don't know why it does that. I think we just had an issue with the internet flickering. I have to retouch base with the phone company today. It worked for us for a little bit though, y'all. It worked for us for a little bit, but started the whole motherfucking podcast over. I'd have probably lost a lot of my guys from over here on TikTok side. I just seen that the whole thing started flickering, and I was like, what? I was like, oh, there's some problems. There's some problems. But I told y'all before, we're gonna make this work. We're gonna make it work. We're supposed to be getting us a new area. We still gotta lock down all of the details. So background's gonna be different. But once we get that new area, we'll be able to get better signal, which means that we're not going to have as many drop frames and lag and all this other stuff. So, the podcast is still growing, still small podcast. And that's why I encourage you guys, make sure that you guys like and subscribe. Make sure you guys join the membership, because everything that y'all do helps. And we do have investment conversations and real estate strategies and stocks and bonds and stuff that we talk about, mutualities, everything like that. Ways to make money for you, little side hustles and ways to get your work in so that you can make you some extra money. Because while we can talk about good ways of investing and good ways of using a to spend, you don't always talk about is what can you do to get extra money in so that you have extra money to invest. So I'm thinking about, we can go ahead and talk about some of that some of the times as well, to kind of get you guys some ways where you can make more than what you put in. Because a side hustle is a waste of time when you're putting in more money than what you're getting out. Wingspeed said the big problem in the U.S. we see is the rich, but not their journey. Damn right. We do complain about the top 1% and the way that the top 1% doesn't have to pay taxes, and the top 1% does this and the top 1% does that. But the journey from being nothing to something, the generational wealth that takes 30, 50, 60, 70 years, 100, 200 years, where somebody had to write the blueprint on a sheet of paper and teach the kids, like bedtime stories, how to invest wealth, so that when the kids became adults, these kids take that same upbringing and teach it to their kids, and their kids teach it to their kids, so that the money stayed coming in the family. That takes 100 years, 50 to 100 years for them to get to that top 1%. We complain about this generation being born into money, but we don't pay respect to the last 2, 3, 5 generations that built up the wealth for this generation to be born into. If I was first generation wealth, it would take my whole life to build up the wealth that my children get. And if my children don't know how to save that money and invest that money, my children will not be able to use the wealth that I got them to build more wealth for their children. And then those children would not have the wealth that I got for my children. But if my children know what to do, then they will teach their children. And then their children will teach their children. And if all they're focusing on is how to make and save money so that they can spend the money that they don't need, after they've invested all the rest of the money somewhere else, they will be able to know how to network. They'll be able to know how to invest. They'll be able to know how to make money for them, so that they don't have to try hard, where they're not taught manual labor jobs for the sake of trying to get theirs and try to make their money make money for them. Try to make their effort make money for them. They actually have money making money for them, and that would benefit them more. But what we do in the U.S., while we complain about we complain about the rich being rich, but we don't put forth the effort into being rich. But some of us is voting for the rich so that we can feel like we are rich because we voted for the rich. That doesn't make you rich. If you vote for policies that goes against your income, you fucking yourself over. I don't know what to tell you about that. But me, I'm gonna adapt to the change because I'm making money, make money for me, and I'm gonna make money for my kids so that my kids can make money for them. I teach them what they need to know so that they know what they need to teach their kids so that their kids can teach their kids so that I know that when I left a legacy. And you understand they got some families that cut the kids out of the will. Not all the kids get the legacy because not all the kids is responsible. You make sure that you issue the irresponsible ones a specific quantity of capital, and if you can't survive off of that, it's on you. But the ones that know how to invest, those are going to be the ones that's going to be over the assets, and they're going to be the ones that's going to build up the wealth so that the wealth can make more money for them, so that their kids and their grandkids and their great grandkids can have a set income. But that's why you see, while arranged marriages aren't legally a thing in this country these days, where you're forcing somebody into a marriage like a shotgun wedding because the father got bribed by some dude or some shit like that. Now you see big businesses where the CEO of one company marries the CEO of another company. That's an arranged marriage. It's just that she's not forced into it. Technically, she is, because I mean, if you don't want to be cut out of the will, you got to do what's in the best interest of the family. And she'll marry into this guy, but she'll voluntarily go over there. They're not gonna have her sitting up there in gunpoint. So Winksby says in Pasco Robes, California, those olive growers and winemakers talk about their struggles. Hiring is hell. But you know that in America, we want to make $25 or $35 an hour to drive a fucking truck. And them orange grove people, those wine groves, are not going to pay you $35 an hour to pick fruit. They're not going to do it. They're not going to have you. They're not going to pay you $30 an hour, $45 an hour to step on grapes and shit, to ferment wine and shit. For say that a $20 bottle of wine is only a $20 bottle of wine because it's very efficient to make. If you're paying $35, $40 an hour to make a barrel of wine, that barrel of wine is not going to be $25 an hour. I mean, $25 bottle of wine. That bottle of wine is going to be a $150 bottle of Patron. And Patron is only Patron because of the name, because Patron and Seagram's gin is almost the same shit. And Seagram's gin you get for $14 a bottle with the same size bottle as a damn bottle of Patron. So why is Seagram's gin got more alcohol in it than Patron? They're both gins, and Seagram's gin is 25% cheaper than Patron because you're buying a name. But wasteful thinking, instead of them buying 4 bottles of Seagram's gin, they'll buy 1 bottle of Patron so that they can walk around holding the Patron bottle so that other broke-minded people can be like, oh, shit, he's got the good stuff. All right. You ever notice how when we drink alcohol as alcoholics, while we're talking about wine here, you ever notice how when we drink alcohol as alcoholics, we always got to fill our glass up to the top? We got to see how many glasses we can chug. You know, rich people usually 1/3 of the glass. You ain't never noticed that? You even see it in the movies. They show it to you. They literally 1/3 of the glass. And they might throw some cubes of ice on top of that shit. A glass of scotch, 1/3 of the glass, where it's mostly glass, and a swig of scotch might last a whole 2-hour or 3-hour conversation. But a goddamn Sex on the Beach, which is a 18-ounce glass of liquor, you need 3 of them to get past this conversation. Goddamn Long Island iced tea, 10 ounces of liquor, 3 cubes of ice, and we need 2 of them to get through the hour. Winkspeed said, yep, we overdo it. Yeah, we overdo it. Most of us get drunk so that we can forget the fact that we got shit that we can't afford to take care of, but we're willing to spend $20 a glass for liquor to get fucked up so that we don't remember it. Instead of taking that $20 a glass and investing into some shit so that we ain't got to struggle no more. You know, some people waste money on getting fucked up so that they can stop being stressed out about hard times instead of investing their money into the reason why they got hard times so that they ain't got hard times no more. You know, if you drink, if you smoke, if you do any type of recreational entertainment stuff just to pass the time. You ain't got to tell me what you do it for. You just know you're listening to this. You know that you doing something, whether it's smoking cigarettes. It could be smoking cigarettes. It could be vaping. It could be a hookah. It don't matter what it is. It's a stress reliever. If that has ever been one of your excuses for the reason why you waste your money on that shit, think about the stress that you have for you to have the anxiety for you to waste your money on that is because your ass is broke. But if you took the money that you was wasting on that and invested on some motherfucking money, do you know how much energy your ass would have? Do you know how much energy your ass would have if you knew that the money that you put down yesterday just doubled overnight while you were asleep? Do you know how much energy you would have if you was investing in a drop shipping company and that drop shipping company just sold $2,000 of shit while you were asleep last night? Do you know how much money that you would have if you had invested into a startup business and your employees made money while you was on break? You getting direct deposits into your account for transactions that you was not even involved in. Do you know how excited you would be when you rolling out of bed so that you can go to a 2:00 meeting where the conversation that you're having is not about how can you afford to pay your past due balance. It's about how do I transfer this 200 grand transaction into your account so that you can take my money and do for me what you did for yourself. Do you know how better your life would be? Do you think that you would be wasting your time buying shit that you don't need to pass the time, to help you get through mentally the struggle of making broke-minded decisions? Your ass is broke, making broke-minded decisions, and then you wasting your money, which is a broke-minded decision, so that you can forget about the fact that your ass is broke. That's why you think about the last time you sat at the bar complaining about how much money you don't got. And think about how many drinks you bought that day while you was complaining about that shit. Okay? Nah. Back to these females. Think about all the bitches that tell you that your ass is broke because you don't have enough money to spend on them for the unrealistic shit that they want. Think about all the money that you waste on them for them to smile at you for that 2 to 3 hours that they're smiling at you. And then think about all the shit that you could have invested that money in. Were they right when they said that your ass was broke? Because you wasted your money on bullshit. Even if you think the female that you're entertaining right now is bullshit because she is not investing in you, you just wasting money on her entertainment. See, if a woman of value is not going to let you waste money on her, she would encourage you to take that money and put it somewhere where there's more money in the long run. I said almost an hour ago, it makes no sense to waste money on a here and now scenario. It makes most sense to put that money on a long-term scenario so that when that time comes, there's so much money sitting there, I don't even got to try. Look at Kobe's wife. The hardest part of her year was paying a lawyer to add the death benefit of the other child onto the inheritance money that she get. She ain't working on no 9 to 5 every day, busting boxes down because her husband passed. She got millions on millions on millions. Plus the millions on millions from the extra child that passed away with Kobe. Do you see how that the difference between hard times and hard times? Some of us watching this podcast today sitting over here trying to figure out how we're going to pay the rent tomorrow. It's the 5th. The rent was due on Monday. It's Sunday, Saturday night, Sunday morning in America. And some of us is trying to figure out how we're going to have money for the rent next Monday because the landlord coming to get it. So we sitting here throwing back beers, whatever, stressed out about the fact that we ain't got it all. We got some of it. But I talked to a buddy of mine who was a career alcoholic just like me, but I don't waste my money on alcohol. I just know that if I had the opportunity to throw them back and I wasn't buying them, I could throw back a lot of them. But my buddy, he's buying them at $20 a case. He'll buy 5 cases. And you think, damn, that's a lot. Whether it's a 24 pack or a 12 pack, fact is that if you're spending 20 basis, how much money is that? You know, you just spent $100. And if you're doing that 3 times a week for those people who drink on a regular basis, that's $300 a week. Remember, I told you about investing. You can get you a banking. There's 8,000 financial institutions in America. So Winkspeed, pay attention to this. There's 8,000 financial institutions, over 8,000 financial institutions. Some of them are credit unions and some of them are banks. Most of the banks are offering 5% interest. Some of the credit unions are offering 7% interest. If you don't care about paying taxes on your money, you can top it out. They usually give you between $300 to $500 max on that 5% interest. There's no transactional fees. There's no service fees on those bank accounts. And you'll be able to put that money in there. And off of that $500, you'll be able to make about $25 a year off of each one of those bank accounts. You could do 1,000 of those. And you see what I'm saying? You got like $20,000 worth of money bringing in $2,500 worth of money every year. You got the ones that were doing between 7% and 7.15% interest on the checking accounts now, not the savings accounts, the checking accounts now. And them checking accounts would have did the same thing. Them checking accounts would have given you almost 10% interest, which is 7% interest on them. And them accounts would have built you up where almost $15,000 will be getting you the same $2,500 a year worth of money. Think about the fact that if you were to put a little under $200 in each one of those accounts. Now, notice we were just talking about how $200 or $300 a week wasting money on getting drunk. That you could open up a checking account with a 5 to 7% interest rate, and each checking account that you own could draw you back almost $20 or $30 a month for each one of them accounts. So if you throwing away $300 a month or $300 a week, you could open 4 bank accounts a month. And this time next year, each one of them bank accounts would have drew you back like $25, $30 a bank account. You open 4 bank accounts a month in 10 months, that's 40 bank accounts. And $20 a bank account. That's $200 that you're going to get every year off of just throwing that little bit of money in there. People say, oh, that's too much work. That's too much work. Look, rich people got their money all over the place. You know, the FDIC only protects up to $250,000 of your money. Do you think that a rich person's got all of their billions of dollars in one location? No. They probably got about $250,000 of it in one place. They might have less than $250,000 of it in one place. And then the rest of it is in stocks and bonds and mutualities and shit. Because you're only covered up to $250,000 of it. Any part of it that's at risk of being lost is going to be moved somewhere else. Winkspeed said, we don't invest in the sun stocks, Bose, tobacco, gun companies. You know what? That is brilliance upon brilliance right there. If you the sun stock is a good one to do, but if you're buying liquor, why are you not buying stock in the liquor company that you're buying liquor from? Because they get their profits off of sales. If you're buying tobacco products, why are you not investing stock into the tobacco products that you buy? Because, I mean, that's profits off of sales. If you're buying gun companies and gun accessories for those gun fanatics, why do you not have stock in the gun companies that you're paying, you're putting your money into? Because you're going to get interest back off of sales. That shit makes sense. Winkspeed says sun equals sun. Money equals money. If you buy shit that you use, and this is actually one of those trade secrets that they tell you in those investment classes, that they tell you, oh, buy stocks that you like. Stuff. Some of that stuff aren't profitable stocks, but some of it is. But it makes more sense if you drive a Tesla and you're going to trade your Tesla in for a Tesla, that you buy Tesla stock. Because every time you buy Tesla stock, every time you buy a Tesla, you help your Tesla stock. You don't buy Ford stock and then drive a Tesla, because I mean you're going against the company. Hold on. Hold on. We just had the internet flicker on us again. It happened to us again. It happened to us again. Lord have mercy. It's like every day of the week the internet be flickering over here. It might just be a power fluctuation. There it is. So, but he says definitely to a lot of us do not, and we don't. Hold on. We got to get extra backup internet up here. Throwing up mobile hotspots. Got to get extra backup internet up here. There it is. All right. So making sure everybody coming back. It's up. I told y'all that we were gonna have to string them up. Got to get the mobile hotspot going. And there we are. All right. I think we're back. Sorry about that. Oh, I'm glad that you're still with me, man. Now, half of the group, because I'm not just streaming on TikTok. I'm actually also streaming on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. And one of the hardest parts about streaming on all of these different platforms at the same time is that the bandwidth kind of flakes out a little bit every now and again. So I have to make sure that I reconnect broadband to the system here. Make sure that everything's working the way it's supposed to work. It looks like it's supposed to be tethered here. It's not showing the tether here. Let me show the tether here. There we go. Get the tether going. We're supposed to be relocating, and once we finish relocating, that's when we're going to have the better connection speeds. Because in the area that we're having, because we have 5G internet speed, but the 3 towers near this location is not good, and it's low band. And because it's low band, we end up not having all of our connectivity on it. So every now and again, times like right now, when speeds start getting or when the system starts getting bogged down, we end up having to find other ways to keep the connection going. But while we're trying to make it work, there it is. Now we're starting to talk about, oh, is this a trusted network? Yes, it's a fucking trusted network. Sheesh. And as soon as it picks back up with the hotspot connection there, or the hotspot connection, that's when the other screen is going to pop back up. So that's why we got the picture-in-picture here. But what I was saying, luckily for me, I've got this recorded at 2 different locations, so I can actually download one side onto the other side. Hey, I make it make sense. There's a $350 a month internet plan for a business, because the business is paying for all of this. Because I'm too broke to be paying $350 a month for internet system to kick off like this shit. But the principle of the matter is that what we were talking about just now when you said that a lot of us don't trust banks and just to pay their mortgage. And the only reason why you trust the bank to pay your mortgage is because you got to put your money somewhere where the bank can come and get it when they want it to, and you put your money into that bank account so that the mortgage company can back that up. And that does not change the fact that you're still in a compromising position, because hold on, let me see if I can bounce out and bounce back in with this other one. Because if I'm back live with you, I should be back live with everyone. Oh, that's why. Home network. Oh, okay. Switch it to a trusted network, then it unlocks it. Oh, they ain't shit for real. All right. Let me go ahead and back out of that studio there. Hold on a second. Back out of that studio there. Yeah, I know we're in the secured network. Been in the secured network. Y'all tripping. Let's see, leave the studio. And then we're going to go back into the studio. Ooh, there it is. See, I told you I was gonna get it to go. Soon as everybody compacts it. And now this is exactly why I have the picture-in-picture. Because if I would have just had that main screen cover this whole screen, you would have said, "Oh man, the show is dead. I'm gonna leave." Nah, fuck that. I'm still here. I'm just working with the bullshit. Right, man. Understand that you can subscribe from the YouTube link right there. It'll give you a subscription, which helps us out. Also, if you follow us, we're still trying to get that stream key so that I can put everything in one spot so that I'm not losing half of the channel because I'm streaming from 2 different streaming platforms at the same time. And you know, that burns on a laptop. That really burns on a laptop. But what we were saying before we were rudely disconnected by the internet. Now I got to call the phone company and sit on the phone with them for 2 fucking hours and explain to them why the fuck my internet ain't working right. I appreciate you sticking in with me, Red Void. He's still watching us from Twitch. What we were saying before we got disconnected, Wink Speed was saying that a lot of us don't trust, like Mint. The Mint stocks are good to have too. He mentioned the Mint stocks, but Wingspeed said that a lot of us don't trust the banks. We just use the banks to pay their mortgages, and that's true. Most people only use the banks to pay their mortgages. They only put enough money into their escrow accounts so that their property taxes is paid for at the end of the year. So what you do is when you get a big check, you put all of your money into this account, you leave it there, and you don't fuck with it. And then what'll happen is that your people, when the people come, the bill collectors come to collect the ends, they just go to that account and they just take whatever is in there out, and then you're good to go. That's where your escrow accounts and your bank accounts, your savings accounts, and all stuff is useful for the sake of paying bills. But people don't like to leave their money into the bank, talking about something they don't trust banks. But if you put your money under the mattress, your money ain't making money for you. If you bury your money in the floor, your money's not making money for you. If you bury your money in the wall, your money's not making money for you. In order for you to get more money, you have to get your ass out there and go grind and get more money. So those people who dope boy fresh and they riding around, you know, hustling, slanging, swinging, investing to make money for them, and then they turn back around and they have that problem where they still got to get out there and grind every day to make more money because they don't have enough money to live. If they took all that money that was buried in the wall, they took all that money that was buried in the floor and they invested it somewhere, they would have money coming to them. Now, the other issue is that I know a lot of us, we don't even think. If you buy in the gold and you buy in the silver, you've got guaranteed wealth off of that. If you've got the top 5 stock companies that pay dividends, they got stock companies that pay dividends quarterly, and you got some that will pay on the first month, fourth month, seventh month, 10th month, and then you got some that do the second month, 5th month, so forth and so forth. And if you got 3 or 4 of them where one pays on January, one pays on February, one pays on April, now you get paid every month. But each one is alternating. But if you put enough money in there, and then they got the dividends coming back, and then you're able to take those dividends, throw back in there, and recycle it, or you just say, okay, well, I'm gonna hold on to the dividends. I'm gonna take those dividends and I'm gonna throw them dividends into Bitcoin. You can do that too, or you can take your dividends from Bitcoin and you can take the dividends from Bitcoin and throw them over there in the top 5 stock options. But if your money is going in different places where your money is making more money for you, while you still living from check to check right now, your hundreds of thousands of dollars that you're not spending on bullshit is building you up the kind of wealth that you need where you ain't got to worry. And then I told y'all before, get your 20-year plan. And the reason why I said 20-year plan, because anybody who talking to me right now that ain't making 200,000 a year gonna need that 20-year plan, because we got bills. We not broke, but we don't got extra money. Our bills are getting paid on time, but we ain't got no extra money. If the extra money that we got, we used to waste it on bullshit. Now instead of us wasting it on bullshit, we're gonna start investing in that shit. And investing it into enough stuff, because there is gonna still be the cost of doing business. My whole life is the cost of doing business, but the cost of doing business is the other half of things. Because if you're going to get you a business, you got to set up a corporation, you set up an LLC or something like that. You're going to have to, after you set that up, you're going to have to put money somewhere. You're going to have to spend money to get that legally set up. So that's money invested, but that's money that's going to help you out in the long run. You get you a trust, even if you set up a trust, that's something that you got to set up some kind of way where that trust is going to make some kind of money for you somewhere. You're going to have to find ways to make more money for you after you've spent the cost to set up the foundation of control of all of your assets. Because you're not going to have 2 or 3 pieces of paper that's going to run your whole life. You're going to have to pay somebody to take action on that trust. You're going to have to pay a trustee, whether it's somebody that you trust or a third-party agent whose job every month is to make sure that whatever expectations on this contract is performed. When you get a neutral party who doesn't know you and their whole job is to make sure that your money goes where it's supposed to go, that person is less likely to fuck you over than somebody that you know. Somebody that you know, they might do good for you for a long period of time, but the first time you cross them sideways, they will fuck all your money up. You got people who got access to all your assets. They got access to all your bank accounts and shit. That's the person that you can't fuck over, because even though you're the hand that feeds them, they can fuck over your income. They burn bridges. They will sabotage their own success to spite you and sacrifice you by sacrificing themselves at the same time. They say when you try to get revenge, you got to dig 2 graves. Because one's for them and the other's for you. But that crabs in a bucket mentality is that we both cooked now. Instead of us both building each other up to come out of the hardship, we both cook now. So what I say on a regular basis is, instead of us dragging and scuffling and struggling, that we got to put ourselves in a place where we making some money. We got to put ourselves in a position where our money's making money for us, where we are not broke, where we are not rubbing 2 pennies together, where we are not wishing that we had $1. You see what I'm saying? We got to put ourselves in a position where we are now still making ends for ourselves. So a polygamous relationship is fantastic for this particular type of model. It's just probably not going to work with an American woman. Because think about it like this. If you're going to be the leader of your business, you establish something. Let's say, so for example, I told y'all about a month or so ago that if you got a foreign domestic business in another country like the Philippines, the only way that your business would be able to own the property is if your partners had 60% of the business. So if you've got 2 people that is, each one of them got percent, you got 40%, that's 100. So you got 40% of the business, they together got 60% of the business. They can do what they need to do, put their name on a paper to get you all the properties that you need. The loyalty there is that if you're making sure that they got what they need, they're not going to fuck you. So you can teach them how to flip properties. You can teach them how to make money. And then you can make sure that they're well taken care of because of it. Now, you've got a offshore company. You're running the show. They're following instructions. They can do this on their own at any point, but you're making money off of their efforts for right now. You ain't got to be greedy. You don't got to get 80% of the proceeds because this was your idea. You could get 20% of the proceeds because this was your idea. You could get 30% of the proceeds, where each one of them get 30% of the proceeds, and they feel like this is better for them because they would not have had this opportunity without you. They're able to go to work every day. They're able to come back and they're able to go ahead and take care of their families. Because even though you might get a specific female that will dedicate herself to you and your success, She still got brothers and sisters that need to eat. She still got a mama and daddy that need to eat. So if you put her to work, you get 3 women, because you know they say that if you got 5 motherfuckers that you can take the world over with, 5 real good motherfuckers that will do what you need them to do when you need them to do it. You got one that's going to be able to motivate you, inspire you, and build you up. You got one that's going to be able to catch the fall for you. One that's going to be able to make sacrifices for you. And there's a difference between somebody that's going down for the cause versus somebody that's going to make sacrifices for the improvement of you. You know what I'm saying? You got one that's got to give you a positive advice. You got one that's catching the fuck ups on the back end. That you need these 5 motherfuckers that really are able to well round your situation. Even Jesus had 12 motherfuckers following him. And he was getting advice from each one of them motherfuckers. You can't tell me that he ain't had 12 folks following him just for the sake of following him. He was giving advice, but he was getting advice too. And if we look at the fact that if we had 5 people that was dedicated to our success following us, we wouldn't need nothing. We wouldn't need nothing. Because while we sleep, they making sure that we got what we need. So if you went out there to someplace else where egotistical behavior has not taken over the person yet, and you go find 2 or 3 of them, Wixby, your idea of getting 3 women together and starting up a business, fantastic idea. Because if you put it in the startup cost and you invest into the corporation, remember I told you 40%. You're a 40% owner and you're a 40% shareholder, investor. You're entitled to 40% of revenue. 40% of revenue received. You're an executive shareholder because you invested in the initial debt. You are the first person to get paid. So they can do whatever the fuck they want to do, but if they're doing what needs to be done to make money, 40% of the money that they make, you get. Now, you could be like a pimp named Slickback and slapping them around and all this other stuff, trying to make them make money for you. Or you could teach them how to make money, how to invest, how to save, how to invest in stocks, how to turn profits, how to do something that's going to make residual capital where they don't have to do a lot of manual effort, a lot of physical labor. And then you just let them go and let them do it. Now, the profits from their efforts is going to keep coming in. They're going to each get their 30%. You get your 40%. You walk away from the deal. You can do that in more than one location. Because remember, I told y'all in August, I told y'all that Nagoya, I do believe, is either Nagoya or Nagano, Japan. If you hire 2 Japanese people and start up a business, they give you $23,000 to do it. You can start up a real estate business out there in like Nagoya or Nagano. Go get your 2 females. They'll dedicate themselves to you. You show them ropes. Look now, they getting paid for it. You show them the ins and outs of the paperwork. Well, I mean, you might want to keep the paperwork to yourself, but you show them the ins and outs of the operation where they can do the work for you while you're not there. They're bringing in the residuals. They're getting the money. They're getting paid for them. You're getting paid for you. You can invest. Now, as a man, now remember, Wingspeed, we was talking about how we had, try to get 2-3 women to ourselves. If you had 2 in the Philippines and 2 in Japan, you got 2 businesses, 4 wives, technically 4 wives. You good to go. You good to go. You got a self-sustainable operation in 2 different countries, plus the operation that you got running in America. You don't even need an American wife. You can run your own operation in America and subcontract some folks to hold the fort down while you're not there. If you're doing rental properties, all you really got to do is just collect the rent. That's all you really got to do is collect the rent. And if you're doing Section 8 properties, you don't even got to collect the rent. The rent coming to you because the Section 8 properties, the government sending you a check. As long as that person don't move out, they're going to keep sending you money. They're going to voluntarily send you money. Section 8 properties is a lot easier and automated than private owners paying you out of their paycheck. Because you got to call them when they don't got the money on time. The government always got the money on time. That's one. But these are the things that we talk about. It's wild that we go through these issues, but we never think to ourselves, what can we do True. Forget about Section 8. You say forget about Section 8. Well, you don't got to get Section 8 for yourself. If you got Section 8 tenants and they're paying you a guaranteed paycheck, you're making more money off of that, and it's guaranteed money. The difference between the money that you get off Section 8 versus the money that you would get off of those tenants that are paying $2,000 and $3,000 and $4,000 a month for their properties is that if they lose their job or something like that, then they can't pay you anymore. When the pandemic happened, who was still paying their rent on time? Section 8. Everybody forget about Section 8. But that's like if you, instead of you buying a property, building it up, selling it off, and then buying another property, building it up, selling it off, and then buying another property, building it up, selling it off, you got to still work every month to make money, because the profit that you got is the difference between the money you built, the money you spent in buying the property and building it up. And the profit comes in is what's left over when you sell it off. But if you buy the property and build it up, that's a debt. And all the money you get from the rental property is untaxable because it's less than the money that you spent on getting the property. So wouldn't it make more sense to buy a $400,000 house that's going to take 50 years to pay off the debt and pocket all the profit untaxed? Wouldn't it make more sense to mortgage that property for 200 grand and buy another property, put another tenant in that property? You're not a real estate guy, but I'm right. Well, no, it's not. You don't have to be you know how you become a real estate guy? You crunch numbers and then you go and pay the cost to get a real estate license so that you can legitimately buy and sell real estate. You got to understand, you actually need a real estate license to do the sell part of the real estate thing. The real estate license isn't necessarily be a landowner and rent out your property. You don't need to be a real estate agent to be a landlord. But if you crunch the numbers, you understand why some of these folks that don't know how to count got an accountant, they got a lawyer, a real estate lawyer, a tax lawyer, and a bunch of money, 200 properties, because they know that. Hold on, another thing. They say seeds make presidents, right? Because you don't got to be smart to know how not to waste money. You don't got to be smart to know how to pay people to make the right decisions for you. You don't got to be smart to follow the lead of the most successful person in your payroll and fire the ones that aren't. Elon Musk doesn't have to be a genius in order to put geniuses on his payroll to make a Neuralink project that's going to make him billions. See what I'm saying? You don't have to be a real estate agent to find out that, oh shit, if I put 30% down on a property, get an FHA loan and buy a property, and I live on a property, you get you an apartment complex. Rent out the rest of the complex. The tenants are paying the mortgage. The only requirement with the FHA loan, you got to live there for at least a year. But while it's going to take you 12 months to stabilize your business anyway. But you got a rent-free property for a whole year. Then if you want to move and do that again, you can keep doing that. But if you don't want to move around all the time, there's a way where you can actually get money, borrow against a stone, buy you a real estate property, put somebody in it, have them pay for the mortgage. Then you could replicate that process multiple times. There are ways where you can build up your credit, use your credit score to build up available credit. And then you can max out all your credit cards and go and buy your real estate property cash up front. Then you can mortgage the property for a percentage of the property, which is typically about 60% is the max. But if you do 50%, if you're buying a $400,000 house, you get 200 grand. You can go and buy you a house for 200 grand, which means that you can get two houses for the value of one. And you can put two people or two families into those two houses, and both of those families is paying for that same one house's mortgage. Where, think about it like this. Remember, I told you, you get your $400,000 worth of credit cards, max out your credit cards, you go and buy the house, right? Then after you buy the house, you owe the credit cards, right? So fair enough, you owe the credit cards. Well, you could turn around and take 200 grand and you could put 150 grand into a house, right? Now, you get that house, cash up front, it needs to be rehabbed, right? You can mortgage that. You still got 50 grand because out of the 200 grand that you got, you put 150 on a new property that needs to be rehabbed, right? Now, you can rehab that house. You can mortgage that house for 50% of its current value and get 75 grand to rehab the house. But you can also get collateral towards the after repair value of the house, which is actually more than the value of the house. But the fact of the matter is you already own the deed to the house because you bought the house for 150 grand. That's all it was worth because it needs to be repaired. But if you was to mortgage a house for 75 grand, you put 50 grand or 60 grand into the house, you've got the 50 grand that you didn't spend from the first mortgage and 10 more grand from the second mortgage for the second property. That's 60 grand. That 60 grand can go towards your monthly payments on your credit card until you put the two tenants into the two properties. Then you take the some of the profit from the tenants and put towards the base principal on the credit cards, and take some of the property from the tenants and put it towards the one mortgage. The one mortgage, you ain't paying for shit. The difference between that, because you could work it out if you do the math right, you could work it out in a way where you can actually take about 40 to 60% of the money that the tenants are paying you every month and put that on your debt, and then pocket the other 40%. And because you're under by a lot, because you're under by 400 grand for the first house, 200 grand for the second house, 75 grand for the third house. If you made 100 grand that year off of them two houses at 50 grand a house, you still would be less than the amount of money that you paid to get the shit started, which means you're not paying taxes on the shit. And anything that's paid towards interest, anything that's paid towards mortgages, debt, is tax write-offs. And you can replicate this process over and over and over again. You can replicate the process until a situation occurs where you're making more money than what you're creating debt. And actually, you can get a tax write-off on your second mortgage. So if, for example, you got two properties that are mortgaged on their first mortgage, you could swing back around and mortgage both of those properties into a second mortgage. Well, now you got two properties on one mortgage. And then take the difference and go and throw that down on the third property if you want to keep doing that. But if you want to get your titles free and clear so that if you want to mortgage a bunch of properties and go and get you an apartment complex, the best thing to do if you're really trying to swing in real estate is to get you apartment complexes, because if you get a $500,000 property and you've got 4 to 8 units on that property, you've got 4 to 8 incomes on that property. And if that $500,000 property with 4 to 8 units on it is each paying you $1,000 or $2,000 a unit, then that 4 to 8 units is going to give you between $4,000 and $16,000 a year. I mean, $60,000 a month off of them units. But that $500,000 ain't going to ask but more than $1,000 a month on the mortgage. So that means that if you draw back 16, that means you're pocketing 14, 15, right? So wouldn't it be fair to say that it makes more sense to try, instead of trying to figure out how to be the big dog on the block and get your Cadillac Escalade or your Chrysler 300 that looked like a Phantom because you couldn't afford a Phantom, instead of getting that and putting it on 32s and putting a lift kit on it, and now you got to pay for brakes, you got to pay for rotors, you got to pay for the white wall rubber band thin tires, the run flats, where you spending $500 a tire for 4 tires, and the tires only gonna get you 200 miles. Can't hit a pothole because now you got to get your new rim. Instead of doing that, you could have just took the last 30 minutes of advice that I gave you and built yourself up a business. And the fact is that particular type of model works in every country. So I mean, the only difference is the laws behind who can control the property, because in Japan you can do this exact same model in Japan, but in places like the Philippines somebody else has to have majority share of the property. But the difference is that you're still going to get money from it, even if out of that 16 grand, if you're going to split that 16 grand 3 ways, you still getting 3 grand, 4 grand after all the bills is paid. Because I told you what, $12,000-$13,000 you get to keep out of the 16 grand. And everything else goes towards all the debt. Well, if you're getting like 12, 13 grand and you say, well, I'm gonna take 4 and y'all can split the rest, ain't nobody bitching. Ain't nobody bitching, but you're getting $4,000 out the Philippines, you're getting $4,000 out of Japan, you're getting $4,000 from America a month. That's $12,000 worldwide, international sales, and it's a residual capital. It's something that you can replicate it to expand on the quantity of income that you're getting, but you don't have to replicate the exact same transaction over and over and over again. You don't have to continue to flip houses to make money every month. You just have to continue to own houses so that you can increase the quantity of revenue that you're getting every month. But you could take the revenue that you don't need on your own personal expenses and put it into stocks, bonds, and mutualities, where that money can replicate itself every month, every year. And then whenever you want to do something expensive, instead of you taking the money out of your own pocket and going and buy some shit, you can actually get a cash loan against the value of your assets. And then that cash loan will give you the ability to buy something cash up front. Have you ever bought a car cash up front? A brand new car cash up front? No money down, no monthly payments. I want that one, and just hand them 60 grand and walk away. That's when you crossed over. I've done it twice in 1 year, and I can tell you, it feels good to walk on a dealership, especially with such a good tan, to walk on a dealership and tell them I want that one. Oh, let's test drive it. I'll test drive it after I pay for it. I want that one. I don't care. I want that one. That's it. I don't want to negotiate. I want that one. I'm not even trying to reduce the price. I want that one. That conversation took me 15 minutes, and I drove off with a brand new car. You know, you go to dealership to buy a car, you're there for 2 hours, 4 hours. They got to get the paperwork. They got to talk to the finance department. They got to talk to this. They got to talk to. I want that one. It's a fucking tax write-off. I don't give a fuck how much I paid for it. $50,000 for a truck, tax write-off. I had $62,000 worth of debt that year. That truck and the truck after that one helped me out. I ain't had to pay shit. That's how you do it. That's how you're able to make money. You're able to make money for you, but then you're able to use debt to leverage against taxes, so you don't got to pay taxes. Wingspeed said, "Yep," and then followed that with a guy I know went that way. 12 units, high rise for students, $800 a month each. I did his computers. Now, you could go way better than that when you're doing students. What you have to do is you have to rezone the property, and it has to be multifamily property. It has to be the zonage for multifamily property, not single family property. Then, instead of renting out the whole unit, you sublet each room. You could get you a high rise or a multi family situation, and then rent out each bedroom at $800 per person. You got a 4-bedroom unit, each person paying $800. Now you're making $3,200 a month off of that apartment. You got 12 units like that. Do the math. You making bank. And financially challenged folks are not going to complain about that. They got to share the common area. Sometimes you have your own furniture in the unit in the common area, because you're going to have a refrigerator and a stove. You might have like a couch or something like that in there. You might let them put their stuff in there, whatever. Let them figure out how they're going to share the common areas, but each one of them rents their individual room. That person who can't afford to pay their $800 a month for their particular unit, you take that person out. But if you've got to evict one person out of a 4-bedroom or 3-bedroom apartment where they were paying you $800 a person, you still got 2 or 3 other incomes still in that apartment, still paying you money every month. The cost of evicting the one guy is being made up for by the other 2 or 3 people that live in there. You're still not at a financial loss. And we don't think about this. Most of us think about manual labor. We think about our presence is our paycheck. Straight up. That is what we think. Whether it is physical work, whether it is mental strain working on a computer, whether it is backbreaking labor, whether if you're a model, if you're an Instagram model, if you're an actor, you're still getting paid for your presence to be there. You have to show up to get paid. When you change your mentality to having something exist that generates money for you and you don't have to be there to get paid, that's when you start thinking rich. You're not thinking rich until you start thinking of ways of making money where money is being generated without you having to be there. Anytime somebody is building a real estate business where they have to physically go there and repair the property, you are not making this a standalone business. You are still on grunt worker mentality. If you've got to be the electrician, if you've got to be the roofer, if you've got to answer the calls from the apartment complex complaining about whatever, you're not doing it right. These buildings are supposed to be self-sustainable, which means that it's supposed to be there. You're supposed to have a team of people that is paid to watch it for you, to fix stuff, to keep the grass cut, to deal with tenant problems, to get rid of problem tenants and put in non-problem tenants, keep the money generating, and having an expected average of revenue received every month, where out of that, their paycheck comes. And you still keep the rest. But if you've got a 12-unit high rise, and let's say on average, we got 3-bedroom apartments in that 12-unit high rise, that's what? 36 tenants. 36 tenants. If we upped it to $1,000 a tenant, especially if you're in an upscale neighborhood, $1,000 a tenant, $36,000. It's hard if you're getting $36,000 every month off of this property to take $10,000 and pay people to make sure that the shit is running right. And $10,000 ain't a lot of money, because when you think about the average wage, if you think about $20 an hour, 40 hours a week for one person, just saying that you're going to pay them a little bit more than minimum wage, $20 an hour, $40 40 hours a week is $800 a month. I mean $800 a week, and you multiply that by 4, and you're looking at $3,200. So $10,000, you might have to do like $13,000 if you really wanted to round this up to have like 4 people working for you. One's collecting the rent and maybe setting up the leases. One is doing the maintenance. One is doing the security on the property. One is doing the legal actions to evict people off of the property. Or if you got one person doing the maintenance where they're fixing stuff and keeping up with the property on the outside and stuff, and instead of you having security, you got one doing the evictions and you got one doing the advertisement when you got openings. You got 4 people. And they're not going to just run that 1 12-unit property. You should have 12 12-unit properties. And those 4 people are running all 12 of those units. You only call when the money ain't right. But what are you calling all 12 of those properties? No, you're not. You're calling one person, the person that collects the money. And technically, what you've noticed, I don't know, most of y'all in America will see this, is that a lot of rental property companies have a website where you pay online. And why do you think they do that? To prevent from having to depend on the individual people to collect the checks. So credit card, debit card, cashier's check, they get accounts with Amscot and Walmart, so that when you pay the account, it goes directly to their bank account on your behalf. And that way, the person who owns the business don't got to look for the money. He just got to look at the amount of money and then turn around and tell y'all, hey, I didn't get enough. What are y'all doing? Oh, well, so-and-so didn't pay on time. Wink said, that's how we handle his high rise. He had a team. Exactly. See what I'm saying? Now, that man set it up to where his money's going to make money for him. So he's going to have residual income every month. Most of us don't even think about that stuff. So all of what I just spent talking about over the last hour and 28 minutes after we stopped talking about bad relationships, good relationships, group relationships, Most men want to get into a relationship where we're happy with somebody. Most men want a life partner, but if you don't have a life partner that's thinking like I'm thinking right now, that's not a good partner for you. Because Wink, you didn't have to be a real estate agent to sit here and talk to me about we're actually talking about commercial level real estate transactions right now. You don't have to be a real estate agent to know about it. You don't have to be a real estate agent to have access to the wealth to make it happen. You just have to have the knowledge, and then you have to have the know-how. And if you can get your hands on the money, knowing who to talk to and where to go, then you can become a real estate agent. You can, and you don't even have to be an agent. You can actually be a real estate investor. You can actually be a business owner of a real estate investment company, and then just hire real estate agents. So you can either pay, I think it's between $1,000 and $2,000 to go through all the shit to be certified as a real estate agent in the United States, where it is actually not a nationwide certification. They give you authorization to do real estate in that state exclusively. Then you can turn back around and set things up where you can do business in that state. But if you're doing business in multiple states, you got to get certified in multiple states. And I have not heard of much reciprocity between states when you're buying and selling. But if you ain't selling shit, you don't need to be a real estate agent. You just need to buy. If you buying and keeping, you really only need a broker. You really only need a broker. So with that being said, if you got a broker on your end, your broker gets a commission out of it. And typically the seller pays the broker, not the buyer. So if you're on a property coming in situation, the real estate agent is going to be on the person that's selling the property, unless you're going to hire a real estate agent to find properties for you. The broker can be on your end to make sure that the deal goes well, and they can pay the broker too. All you're really paying for is the property. It's part of the closing real estate agent, but that's all you're really covering is the property. These are the things that we talk about on This, That, and Everything in Between on a regular basis as to why we can find better companionship, we can find better relationships, we can find better interactions, we can stop being miserable, we can stop putting up with this bullshit, we can stop dealing with these low grade and low valued style women that are not good for us, and find us higher valued women that have high class and high styles, where we can boost up our ability to be successful with a group of people around us that is going to be aiming to make us successful. It's better for us to have friends and family around us that is investing in our success, so that when we become successful, what little bit that we going to share with them, because we're not going to break the bank with them because they helped us become successful. But I mean, if you invested in me for me to be successful, then I can invest a little bit into you for you to be successful too, because that's how we all come up together. But me giving half of my income to you because you gave me a couple dollars here and there is idiotic for myself, because you're not going to give a couple $100 to T-Mobile and then T-Mobile is going to give you thousands of dollars back on a regular basis. It doesn't work that way. You got to look at your percentages. And typically, if they're investing in you and you're offering them like a 5% return on their investment in you as friends and family, they're going to get back a 5% return off of whatever they gave you, but you're going to take whatever they gave you and you're going to try to invest in something that's going to give you a 15% return, so that when you give them their 5%, you still got 10%. And if you got to pay 20% on what you made, if you don't get it written off on taxes, it typically averages out to about 3% of the 15% that you made, which means that out of the 10%, you actually walked away with 7%, which means you still turn a profit on them giving you money. You still turn a profit on you paying them back after you pay the taxes on it. All of that boils down to you yourself have to be able to find better ways to utilize your time, your effort, and even your borrowing. If you're going to borrow from somebody, you got to borrow from them in a way where you're making a profit. You cannot continue borrowing from somebody where you owe them with interest to pay a monthly reoccurring bill. That makes no fucking sense. If I'm going to borrow $1,000 from you, I'm not going to borrow $1,000 from you to pay $1,000 bill. I'm going to let that bill go into collections. If I'm going to borrow $1,000, because if I can't pay that bill, I can't pay you back. Think about that. But if I could borrow $1,000 from you with the ability to pay you back, I should be able to take that $1,000 and put it somewhere, like probably Bitcoin. And within 30 days, I can turn that $1,000 into at least 1,500, or maybe 1,250 if I'm bad at it, but at least 1,500. Where when I give you back your $1,000, I still got 500, and if I gave you back 1,100, I still got 400. Where you made 10% interest off of lending me some money for 30 days, which is the same thing that AmpScot do, because if they get there lend you $500, they charge you $550. So don't it make sense for you to say, okay, well, you know, you throw some money at me, I give you a little bit of money back with interest, and I'm gonna hold it, and then you give it back to them with a little bit of interest. But what you took that money from them, you take that money, you put it into a certain area where that money is going to make more money for you. You're not just going to borrow money from them so that you can keep from getting your car repossessed. You can't afford your car, let your car go, bro. First thing you got to do when you borrowing against a stone is you got to reduce your expenses. If you've got more bills and you got money, you got to reduce your bills. So you got to stop paying for some shit. You got to let some shit go. You underwater right now. You drowning in debt. Let some of that debt go. This shit can only stay on your credit for 7 years anyway. If you got a 20-year plan to take you 7 years to recoup yourself, then let some of that shit that you can't afford to pay go. Keep the bare necessities that you need. Focus on yourself. Build your money up. And then when you start making extra money, then you can use that extra money to make more money for you. By the time you look back at all the shit that you charged off, bankruptcies and everything like that, 20 years down the line, bankruptcy stops mattering 10 years ago. 10 years down the line, charge off stopped mattering 7 years ago. Most states, they can't even collect the debt no more after 3 to 5 years. It just sit on your credit report for 7 years. But your credit score is not going to be an 800 because we wasn't making the right choices when we were growing up. So since it ain't going to be an 800, don't worry about that bitch. If it ain't a 500, let it build it up to a 720 and use it. Build it up to a 665 and use it. Most of the time, they only really care if you got a 650 anyway. If you got a 650 or better, they'll fuck with you. They'll fuck with you in business with a 650. They'll fuck with you with a 675. If you got a 680 or a 710, they'll really, American Express will fuck with you. And if you got American Express on your side, everybody willing to do business with you. So, I mean, just build yourself up. Focus on yourself. If you can't find females that's going to back up your agenda, if your agenda, Wink Speed, if your agenda is to find a female that is okay with partnering with you and multiple other females, for y'all to build wealth, and you get the smash and everything else like that. You get the whole wife treatment from these 3 women, but y'all gonna make money and build an empire together, and they get the benefit from that. If you find 3 women that's willing to agree to that shit, that's the women that you keep. I said on the show, it don't matter how ridiculous this shit sounds. I said on the show before, as a man, you got to stand on your principles, your non-negotiable expectations for behavior, and you have to make sure that the female that you fucking with is going to follow your agenda and support it 100% of the way. If your agenda is including her success, and she ain't down for supporting your agenda, then get rid of her and go find somebody else who will support that agenda, because you're wasting your time entertaining a female that is only there for her happiness and her satisfaction and her gratification. If she is not there to focus on your success, then you don't need her. With the polygamous relationships we got right now in 2024, if you can date 2 girls that's willing to work and build enough money for the 3 of y'all to be successful, then bro, that's a better way to go. Because you got a team. Hugh Hefner had a team. None of them had jobs. The hardest part they had to do was take photos and be in magazines and participate in Playboy parties. I mean, the Hugh Hefner household was safer than the Diddy house. Let's be real. Millions on millions on millions. But how many of us in our lifetime believe that we're going to be able to buy the same $88 million house that Drake bought? We're not going to do that. Most of us can't even guarantee that we're going to get promoted on our job. Most of us is pissed off because we trained our replacement and that motherfucker got promoted over us on our job. So if we not trying to say, fuck this job, I'm going to work for myself and try to build my own wealth, if we not trying to do that, brother, we not heading in the right direction. So with that being said, I really appreciate you guys coming to the show tonight. I'm here every night, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, 5 Pacific. Hefner had an ironclad contract with those women. But Wink, you got to have an ironclad contract with each one of your females, bro. Prenuptial agreements is part of your contract. Performance contracts. Your relationship contract is a performance contract. You got the same kind of contracts in the Philippines where they're legalized wife contracts. You can literally, that's why I'm telling you about it. You can literally fly to the Philippines and get a contract with 3 women that'll be your wife contractually. America don't recognize 3 wives, but America does recognize work visas. So if you start up a C corporation, don't you can get you an LLC, but start you up a C corporation because C corporation caps out at 20% taxes. Start you up a C corporation. Use that C corporation. Go to the Philippines. Get your 3 wife contracts. Turn them into employees. Go to America. Get a work visa. The main chick could be the first chick, and the other 2 chicks can be the employees on the paperwork, and get you 2 work visas. And what at least 1 to 3 years they can fly over and have them over here in America for a little while. They can see the life that they're gonna get if they follow your lead. Then you fly them back over to the Philippines, and y'all go back to the Philippines and try to build this bitch up. You take them out the Philippines, take them over there to Japan, get you a couple of them in Japan, and then take them with you back to America. You flying as a team. You know, when you fly with your team for business, there's a tax write-off on your business. So if you're making that much money where you owe that much taxes, where you can use that tax money to fly from the Philippines to Japan. I mean, look, you gotta make money for you. But at the end of the day, while Hefner had an ironclad contract with the females, you can't tell me he wasn't getting that ass. You can't tell me he wasn't getting that ass. You can't tell me that he was living with 52 women and he wasn't smashing none of them. But while he got an ironclad contract with them, they're working to make money to live into that $1 million house. That Hefner didn't got to leave the house every day to go make money for them 52 women in that big ass house. He ain't had to do nothing besides negotiate some deals, pay some people to get the shit done. The magazine made money. The parties made money. It you know, it even like right now, I thought about this before. It came across my table earlier this week. We have birthday parties where we spend all of our own money to invite a bunch of broke motherfuckers to our house so that they can eat for free, drink for free, use up all of our resources, fuck up our house, get in their cars, leave, and then we got to clean up. Slave mentality. Why the fuck am I paying you to come to my house? Why am I not inviting motherfuckers with money to come over to the house? We still gonna have food and drinks there, but now I'm networking with motherfuckers that got money, so that I can get into some business deals. I can get into some contracts somewhere. I can find some people. If I'm in real estate, I can find other people in real estate where I can get better deals. I can find somebody in advertisement where I can get a better deal. I can network with somebody that knows something about stocks and trading and everything like that, so I can get a better deal. So instead of me celebrating my birthday wasting money, I can be celebrating my birthday making money. And then the birthday was a tax write-off because it was a business transaction. Why don't we do that every year? Where every year on our birthday, on the day of our birth, we pick up 5, 10, 20 successful contacts. Why every year do we waste our money with 2 or 3 motherfuckers that's wasteful? It don't matter if they're wasting it on us or if we're wasting it on them. The 2 or 3 people who ain't got shit else to do but waste money is going to kick it with us on our birthday. But the motherfuckers that's grinding to make money can only call us and tell us happy birthday. The motherfuckers that's grinding double time to make money, forget our birthday and call us later that week. But if we're not connected with people who make money and make money for them, what are we really doing with our lives? What are we really accomplishing? If we're not able to mingle with people where we know success, because that's how the rich people stay rich and get richer, is because they negotiate with people, they mingle with people, they go places, and that's another reason why the whiskey glass is a quarter of the cup instead of the whole fucking cup. Wingspeed says awesome advice. That's the reason why it's a quarter of a cup, not the whole fucking cup, because you're not trying to get hammered. You get you a little bit of drink, maybe take the edge off if you got some social anxiety, whatever, but you're here to listen to other people, not to talk. You're here to listen to other people, find out what they're capable of, find out how you can benefit from them, and then try to get their contact information. You want to find out from some of these people who they are, what they can do, and how you can benefit them to make them want to contact you. So the only time you're talking, you're promoting yourself so that you can exchange a positive contact. And if you're not promoting yourself to exchange a positive contact, you shut the fuck up and you listen. And this is actually better advice for women, because ladies, if y'all are trying to find a successful man, if you shut the fuck up and listen to the man, you find out if he's a successful man. Instead of just counting how much money he's already got in the bank and how much money he's residually dropped into that bank, you can find out what kind of aspirations that man has by shutting the fuck up and listening to the man. Because if he's not telling you ways to make money for himself, where you could take that same advice and use that to make money for you, you ain't doing it right. Because all you doing is feed a fish and give a man a fish, you feed him for a day, right? But if the fisherman ain't got no fucking fish, how can he give you a fucking fish? So if you only show up to get the free fish, you're going to feed you for a day. But the day that I don't catch a fish, you're going to come to me looking for a fish. Your ass is hungry and I'm hungry too. But if I show you how to fish, or if you watch me and you learn how to fish, we both catching fish. If I don't got fish, you got fish. If you don't got fish, I got fish. If we getting fish together, we got more fish than what we need. What we can do? We can sell the fish. Now we got profits. We start making profits. What can we do? We can teach other people how to fish. Then we pay them to fish for us. Now what's happening? We are getting paid for other people fishing for us. And if we want more money, we could pay one of the people that is already fishing for us to teach somebody else how to fish for us, so that we can pay that person to fish for us. Training pay. Which means now we can maximize the quantity of labor that we have by using our labor to train extra labor, so that we have extra labor, so that we can get more money, we can increase productivity, we can get more money and not have to fish no more. So why are we not thinking about, no matter what we do, why are we not thinking about ways of expansion where we are not always the one at the bottom? We continue to live our life on an upside down pyramid, where we are the foundation of the pyramid, and the pyramid is the weight on our shoulders, and it is an imbalanced pyramid. And we breaking our backs trying to hold up this pyramid. Why are we not instead in a situation where we're building a pyramid, where we might have been on level 1, but we find 2 people to lift us up to level 2, and then we've trained 3 people underneath them 2 people to lift us up to level 3, and then these 2 people are training some people to lift them up to level 4. That way I don't even got to be here no more, because the shit is doing itself. And the money that's coming in is paying for the people that's coming in. And the profit over here is going into my pocket for me to take that profit and go over here and build another pyramid. Everything is capitalizable, hence the word capital, hence the word capitalism. But capitalism is designed to make money off the backs of the broke folks. So if you're going to live in a capitalist life, the American dream requires you to build a business where your money is making money off of somebody else doing work. So you have to start doing the work until you make enough money to find somebody to do the work for you, so that you could back off. And even if you got to split the money 80-20, and then you're going to do more work, or actually be smarter to split it 60-40, where they're going to do some work and then you're going to bring somebody else in, and then you're going to split it again, and then you're doubling the workload. Now you're going to walk away from it. Now you're making 20. Those 2 are making 40 a piece. They're satisfied, but you're making 20. You can walk away now. Then when the business scales up to the ability to require more people, now you can put 2 more people there. Each one of those people are making the same percentage, but you're still making your 20%, and you walk away. And you're scaling up. And the reason why I say 20% is because you got to take 60, but out of your 100% of your profits, you're always scaling up when you're reinvesting 40 to 60% of your profits back into your business, which also means that you're only really walking away with 20%, 40 to 20% anyway. And you still got to pay for your employees after you finish scaling up. So, you're still going to be walking away with between 20 and 40% of profit anyway. So if you recognize that you're going to keep at least 20 of it, no matter how much you scale up your business, stop being greedy. And just pay the workers to do the work for you. And since Americans are greedy, if you're going to offshore your work, that's where we start flying to other countries. But again, like I told you, I was going to put a pin in the show, but Winkspeed had gave me some great coins into the mix. He said, "Yep, Winkspeed gave us the great coins into the mix." Wink, make sure if you haven't subscribed to the platform yet, hit that follow button for us. And we're gonna be doing some today's Saturday, so we're gonna be doing some relationship style time. We're gonna do questions and comments tomorrow, so they're gonna be listening to some stupid shit that some people have said and asked me, and I'm gonna give you some real serious advice about that shit. And you guys can jump in if you want to, but then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we're gonna be doing some business related conversations and stuff to that effect. I have to fill in the blanks on a lot of those topics because I missed a few because I've been dealing with this internet problem. So as I've been trying to, the rest of the month is filled in, but Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, I've been trying to fill those in while making sure that the internet works. So as I get those shows up there, you'll see them on a YouTube platform, but we are live 7 days a week. So even if you don't see one up there, you know one will be up there by the time that day hits. And then we will be going live 9 Eastern, 8 Central, 5 Pacific every day. Sometimes we're a little bit slow to the tape because of the internet problem, but between 8 and 8:20 we typically get on, and we're on every night. So we typically run for about an hour at least, if not more, every night of the week. So if you didn't get on right at 8, if you get in there around 8:30, you still there, you still made it, you still seen us. And we could talk about the real estate, we could talk about investments, we could talk about strategies, we could talk about self-improvement, self-empowerment, self-realization, self-reflection. And we just got to recognize, and I do want to talk about the inequalities that we got to deal with, because as men, while we're dealing with these inequalities, a lot of us deal with it. We adapt to a self-preservation. We allow ourselves to be mistreated and abused, and then we turn around and say, well, that's part of being a man. Well, that's not part of being a man. We just got conditioned into accepting being mistreated because that's how our society is. The value of the man is gone. Respect for chivalrous men is gone. We are treated like simps if we take too much shit, and then we're said that we ain't shit if we don't take enough shit. And it makes no sense, because in neither situation are we looking at the person that's mistreating us and they are bending over backwards for us to say that, oh, well, it's somewhat fair, somewhat balanced. No. If you think about how many times you get hit by a woman, physically hit, like they slapped you, they didn't punch you, they didn't hit you, they didn't throw something on you, poured a drink on you, something like that, and ask yourself, how many times has a man been allowed to behave the exact same way without going to jail? You're going to sit here and say, well, outside of Chris Brown, not too many times. Chris Brown and Quavo, probably the only ones that can 19, 20 females throwing them down flights of stairs and shit. But the average man can't do that shit. The average man can't slap a woman and talk about I was emotional. The average man can't punch a woman and say I was emotional. The average man can't hit a woman with a pot and say, oh, I was emotional. He has to be sent to jail for that shit. So I'm trying to tell y'all, we need to focus on ourselves. We need to prioritize ourselves and value ourselves. If we value ourselves, then we will be able to be valued by other people, because you're only worth as much to somebody else as you are to yourself, and you're only worth to them what you can do for their agenda. So outside of your value to them, you got to recognize your value to yourself, and then recognize that if your value is that valuable to you, what are they doing for you that you value in order for you to share your value with them? And if you can say not a damn thing, then why the fuck are we chasing these hoes? With that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and sign out. I appreciate you guys on TikTok. He said, great show. Thanks. Good night. You have a good night, brother. Ladies, I'm going to ask y'all every night. As long as the situation doesn't make sense, I'm going to keep asking you ladies to make it make sense. So ladies, make it make sense. And as I sign out today, I'm going to see you guys tomorrow. I appreciate you guys coming to YouTube and dealing with all of the glitches and everything else that we have had today. Woo! It's been a long day. We didn't even have a lot of people come over to the thing. They're talking about the MLB. The show is now the thing. Lord. They didn't even ask me for the survey. They know I'm pissed off because the shit fucked up that much. But yes, I really appreciate you guys coming to the show. You guys do a good job making us making it worth my while to be here, because I'm able to share knowledge, I'm able to share success, because the common knowledge is only common if everybody knows about it. But even if everybody knows about it, very few people are going to do something about it. In a sense, very few people are doing anything about it. I just really want to try to make sure that everybody's got something that they can hold on to, so nobody can say that the man is keeping them down, because you got a man sitting here telling you what to do to get yourself up. So if I'm giving you the come up clues and you ain't trying to come up on your own, I don't know what to tell you. Eventually, you're going to see the success happen in ways where you're going to see me doing the show in different areas. And as I'm doing the show in different areas, you're going to see me and enhancing and advancing on this success. And as you see me enhancing and advancing on this success, you're going to come to find out that I'm going to be in every country that I can get my hands on, that my money can stretch to. And I'm going to be doing the same thing in other countries. And y'all going to be sitting here like, damn, Xander said that if I do this and if I do that, that I'll be able to make it make sense. And I didn't do it. 20-year plan. This podcast going to be around just like other podcasts that's been here for a decade, been here for longer than a decade, and 20-year plan. Y'all going to see me making money live broadcast, because it is real stuff that I'm telling y'all. This is stuff that's in the books. Y'all can Google this shit after I tell you about it. You'll be like, damn, I didn't know that. But if you follow my lead, if you follow what I'm talking about, this is the ways that we can make ourselves better than what we were. And if your 20-year plan is making your later greater than your today, you just have to endure, because today is already passing. Tomorrow is a whole new day. But tomorrow you shouldn't be suffering. You shouldn't have a lifetime of suffering. You should not have 40, 50, 60 years where all you look back on and think about is how you struggled. You think you had some good days because you didn't have to get pissed off by the police. You think you had some good days because your girlfriend wasn't acting an ass on you. But you think about how every day you had to struggle. You think about every day how even when the money was flowing, you was always counting every dollar on your paycheck. You was always calculating how much money was coming in. You was always speculating on what else could you do to make ends meet, not make extra wealth, just to make ends meet. So they not meeting right now. You just trying to contemplate on how to make ends meet. You're not doing enough for yourself. And you don't want to have every day of your life to be that way, because as long as ends ain't meeting, like stretching two rubber bands from the opposite sides of the room, one day that one of them bands is going to pop and then everything going to fall apart. You cannot continue to let yourself struggle knowing that you don't got enough for next week, knowing that you don't got enough for next month, and knowing that we already had one pandemic happen where motherfuckers was out of job for 6 months, and it only take 2 missed paychecks, 3 missed paychecks at the most, and everybody homeless. You can't tell me that if you can miss work for the 6 weeks and you ain't got no life, your whole lifestyle is at a bus stop now in a garbage bag, then you got to understand that you got to make your money make money for you. Because the wealthy people were sad that their stocks crashed, but they were still living in 52-bedroom mansions and their bills was paid every month. You ain't had no money to fucking buy food. These motherfuckers was eating in 5-star restaurants because they built that wealth. The journey that they went through, they built that wealth. So I'm going to encourage y'all to make it make sense for me and get that wealth with me throughout the month, throughout the year. Because as I build this situation up on my own, y'all are going to see that success can happen. And if you're watching it, man, if you're watching the journey 5 years, 10 years down the line, and I'm talking to you about the success that I already have, and you're listening to the journey today, the only thing I can tell you is that I told you so. But some people are going to come in down the line and be like, ooh, I want to follow him because he's already successful. Some of y'all are going to be like, man, I was here when he first started. Some of y'all are going to be successful with me because y'all did the same shit that I was doing. So with that being said, I appreciate y'all coming to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, with This and That and everything in between. Thank y'all, and y'all have a good night.